to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. That's it.
Councilmember Hill? Here. Councilmember Locke?
Here.
Vice Mayor Lund?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here. Okay, Commissioners, ceremonial items, swearing in the new city council members. Trish, are you going?
Yeah. Okay. I guess Chris and Jim step up and... Yeah, Tony? Forgot about you.
What? They didn't get the president to swear him in? Oh, they got Connie. That's even better.
Turn your back to us.
For the swearing in, I will be swearing in Trish Pates as my deputy. Okay. Can you repeat it? Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Okay. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right.
Too many words, eh?
Chris, congratulations. Thanks very much. Tony, congratulations again. Hey, Jim, congratulations.
Where you guys going?
Hey, good to see you. Stuff.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Good luck, guys.
Yes, I said it.
Huh?
Do I move? Or did it just take a
Well, I'm going to nominate you for mayor. Oh, here's Rick.
Yeah. Keeping my right hand. You'll be busy.
Between you and Rick, so stupid.
Might be the smartest guy here.
The other thing you got is the plaques.
Yeah.
You know, where'd you put the plaques, Trish? Where'd you?
What?
The
Trish
plaques?
probably went to go get them. The plaques? Oh, okay.
Oh. You're going to have to go out there and try and do it. Yeah. You're the vice mayor.
First, I'd like to present to Chris Finstead for his service with the fire department for the last 20 years. I was actually honored to serve under him.
We should adopt a resolution for before they vote and install the councilman members.
You want to go first on that? Okay, Chris, not just yet.
You have to verify the election.
All right, well, that was ahead of the game here. I guess you called it A.
So, ceremonial approval. Resolution 2014- would be our next one. 2014-47, declaring election results.
Motion?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Cosio? I'm sorry. Councilmember West?
Here.
It's your vote, Jim. Not attendance.
I didn't want to turn this on.
Don't worry, folks, we'll settle down. Here, I am.
I remember my first day.
Reg?
Aye.
Councilmember Martirona?
Aye.
Mayor Lund?
Well, not yet, but
Mayor Lund?
yes.
Oh, it's good. Okay, now, we did the installation, so now you do the plaques, right?
Okay, yeah, installation of new continuing city council members, Bach, West, and Matador. So,
Yeah, we did that already.
okay. Presentation of plaques honoring outgoing city council members, Casio and Moore, and volunteer firefighter Chief Finstead for his 20 years of service. Now we can do it, Chris. I presented with this plaque for 20 years of service. I was actually privileged to serve under this fine chief, and he taught me a lot. He did a great job with the department, really changed a lot of stuff, and he's presented me with some plaques before, so now I get the presentation to give him a plaque this time. That's true. All right, thank you. It was raining, so I tried to give it
They really sealed these things up. Anybody got a knife? There we go. Yeah.
Next plaque I'd like to present to Elaine Casio for her service of being on the council. She taught me a lot and helped me get through the hard times.
I'll still be there for you.
Next, I present the next plaque to Andy Moore, our former mayor, and this guy had a lot of fire under him.
I just want to say a couple things. The last 6 years, it's been a pleasure to serve the city of San Juan, especially the last 4 years under Roger. It's been a lot of fun working for him, or under him working for us. And I see another 4 years. Roger, hope you'll give the council, and because I know you have the love for the city and the best thoughts for the city. But anyhow, thank you so much. And again, Chris, I wanted to say thank you for being, putting 20 years of service in. That's a tough task, but thank you so much. But it's been good, you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next will be item D, selection of new mayor and vice mayor.
I'd like to nominate Robert Lund for mayor for the coming year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Roll call vote.
Councilmember West,
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Bott,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Martirana,
Aye.
Mayor Lund.
Well, abstain.
All members of the council being present, the motion is approved by the record passes 4-1.
Okay,
And Robert, if I may, I'd like to nominate Rick Edge for vice mayor.
Second.
second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
Aye.
Councilmember Bott,
Aye.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martirana,
Aye.
Mayor Lund.
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the record passes passes unanimously.
All right, congratulations, Rick.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
guys.
Okay, next on the, item 3 would be public comment on items that are not on the agenda. If they're on the agenda, if you can wait till those items pop up, then we can talk about them then. We can't take any action on the items that you present in front of us tonight, but we will listen to what you have to say. If anybody, do we have anybody up for comment?
Good evening, and welcome to the new City Council persons. Van de Gever, 5 Donner Street. I'm president of the Historical Society, and last week, kind of on a whim, we created a calendar, a 2015 calendar, using some of our best, or representative samplings of our photo archives. And for the City Council, for the public, we need to raise funds. We have a digital San Juan Bautista project that we're working on, and I think one of our computers is already wearing out. So we created this calendar. It's got beautiful images. We're selling for $20. We've already sold out of our first batch, and we're on to our second order. So if anybody's interested, you can call me, 623-1672, $20. Great investment, great Christmas gift. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have anybody else?
Cara Denny,
Okay.
So I'm going to read a letter that I wrote just to try to save time and make sure my thoughts are together. First of all, I want to take this time to thank all the City Council members, past and present, who have volunteered endless hours to the betterment of our city, and to congratulate our newly elected City Council members. My name is Cara Denny, and I live and conduct business in San Juan Bautista. I have lived and worked here since 2005 and raised my 3 children. On September 5th, 2014, I had to evict a tenant out of my home so that I could reoccupy it. My appearance tonight at this meeting revolves around my displeasure of the resolution of the activities of the City of San Juan Bautista in regards to handling of the return of my previous tenant's deposit, as well as the additional sewer charge now being imposed on my account. I've attached a letter dated November 25th, 2014, addressed to Roger Grimsley that outlines the events that preceded the eviction of my previous tenant, to a copy of what I am currently reading to explain why I'm displeased. After requesting a response to my letter, I was contacted by Michelle from the City of San Juan Bautista with no resolution. I am asking the City Council to review this situation so that my situation can be resolved. Additionally, I am here in a capacity of a real estate broker representing 10 property owners and 50 units here in town. I am requesting that City Council put on the January meeting's agenda the revision of the base charge of $77.61 for each known dwelling at a property for discussion and possibly approval. The property owners that I represent and I feel that they are being unfairly charged $77.61 for each of their units, which mostly consist of one-bedroom or smaller units. The same price that a 4 or 5-bedroom house is charged. The consensus is that the fees to be charged should be based on water usage, since what a household uses is primarily what is going into the sewage system. I would also like to suggest that it also be based on the month of the year and the type of property to account for water use for landscaping. Obviously, a 13-unit apartment building or commercial building will not have the same landscaping water usage as a 3-bedroom home with a lawn. I also want to bring up that several of the property owners have individual concerns about items such as being overcharged for units that aren't being rented and having to pay for water usage when city workers have caused leaks at their properties. My contact information is listed below, and I hope to hear from anyone who has further questions.
All right, thank you.
Sonora Vasquez?
Mayor Lund, Vice Mayor, council members, congratulations. I just want to take a minute to thank a few people. For those of you that don't know, the Rotary Club has taken on an initiative to fix Veruti Park. And this weekend, the decrepit fence that was separating the resident housing and the fence was removed, and a beautiful redwood fence was installed. So I wanted to thank the San Juan Rotary Club for funding the project, for funding all of the materials. I also wanted to thank Roger Grimsley for giving us so much time and making sure that we had everything that we needed to accomplish it. I also wanted to thank Chris Martirana, Ruben Gonzalez, Jesse Huerta, Rick Gonzalez for also making sure that we had everything that we needed. And we also had airmen from the 314th Training Squadron out of Monterey and an LGBT twist group organization actually out of Monterey that made their way to support San Juan Bautista. So I'm really happy about that. We're hoping to raise enough funds, so fundraising ideas will be, or fundraisers will be starting pretty soon to raise enough funds to replace the sand with a rubber matting to make it more safe for our children. Right now we are offering some of the San Juan merchants, and I'll leave some out here, some of the San Juan merchants, Vintage Owl Photography, and also the Rotary Club are hosting a free holiday in the park, offering free pictures with Santa, hot chocolate, holiday music, hot dogs, holiday hot dogs for the children and just for locals. So please join us, and you will look forward to hearing from me soon.
When is that? When? When is that?
The event is this Saturday on the 20th from 12 to 4.
Great.
All right, next on there is consent items. Approve affidavit of posting agenda. Or were we done with comment, public comment? Did we have any more speakers? Okay.
I'd like making a motion to approve 4A through F.
Second.
I understood that since
Unless
we
you
were
want to
not
post
here,
something.
we're not supposed to vote on
you're
this.
right.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, abstain on that.
So I will not second it.
I had one on the minutes. There was one of the words in there, support. It was support.
Which one is it? D?
Yeah, D. Rick, do you have that in front of you there?
Yeah, what page?
I think it was on the second page of the minutes. It's up towards the top where it says support. I had it circled in here. A lot of papers tonight.
The second page is the financial reports, the sheriff's report, fire chief's report, library report.
I had it marked on it.
What was the item? What was the item, the issue? Oh, I found it. It's next to it's the last page, up at the top.
It says support.
Oh,
Spoke in support.
All right.
Oh, it should
Left
be
the T
support.
off, right?
Left the T off, yeah.
Rick taught me that stuff.
So, again, I'll move that we approve 4A through F with correction to D.
Okay, a second?
No second.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Councilmember West?
I was not at the meeting, so I'm
Abstain.
abstaining. I wasn't at the meeting.
He's going to abstain then.
Okay. Councilmember Bach?
Aye.
Councilmember Edge?
Aye.
Councilmember Marchelano?
Abstain.
Mayor Lund?
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 3-2.
Okay. Moving along to number 5. Presentations and informational items and reports. A, we have legislative update by Assemblyman Louis A. Alea.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the time. Congratulations to our new Vice Mayor and Mayor and the new council members. Thank you for giving me a few minutes out of your busy meeting here today to come and do my yearly legislative briefing. And I do this, I've been doing it now for 4 years since I came to the State Assembly. So I could come to every city, 9 cities in my assembly district, the 4 county boards of supervisors, to let you know some of the highlights of each legislative year. But hopefully also it helps us stay more in context so that when there's issues that I could be helpful with at the state level, I certainly want to compliment the hard work that you're doing here on the local level. Before I start, I just want to recognize also it's good to see the civic activism of Sonora Vasquez, who is one of my distinguished Veterans of the Year, only given 4, one for each county, and she was my recipient this year, and I'm glad to see her continued help to make this community a better place to live in for our families and our children. First of all, I'm your state assembly member. My district starts as north as
Did you have one open?
Morgan Hill, and it goes all the way down past King City to Fort Hunter Liggett, half of Camp Roberts, including all the Big Sur coastline as well. Almost 500,000 people, and I just got elected to my last 2-year term to serve as your state assembly member. And so I just recently got appointed, I got sworn in on December 1st, and got reappointed as the Assembly's chairman of the Environmental Safety and Toxic Materials Committee. That basically means all bills having to do with clean drinking water, pesticides, clean air, environmental protection, toxics, or I make recommendations on all those bills that go through the legislature. And I also serve on the Labor and Employment Committee, Local Government, and Judiciary Committees. And I just got elected to be the chairman of the California Latino Legislative Caucus, representing 18 assembly members and 4 senators. I'm here with my staff, Daniel Dodge, who's here with me. He's my staffer that covers San Benito County. If you ever need to speak with him when I'm not around, he's here to serve the people of San Benito County. And we also passed out some paperwork of all the bills that were signed into law this year, and also we passed out paperwork for our annual There Ought to Be a Law contest. For me, that's the most democratic way to engage everyday hardworking citizens of my district, for them to submit ideas of how we can improve California's law. I at least carry one of those each year. My most recent was by Dory Rosinda of Watsonville, who had an idea to improve and expedite workers' comp hearings for certain categories of injured workers, and that was signed by Governor Brown in October. I'm just going to give a quick overview. Last year in 2013, I sent 11 bills to the governor. 100% of those got signed into law, and it earned me the ranking of most effective assembly member out of 80 for 2013. This year I sent 12 bills to the governor, 11 out of 12 were signed. The only one that was not signed, the governor promised to get it signed next year, and it's a bill that I'm working with the California League of Cities. I've been working, next year will be now my 4th year working on it. It's a post-redevelopment bill so that local cities can keep some tax increment. Taxes that would otherwise go to Sacramento, you get to keep it here locally for economic development, for cleaning up contaminated sites called brownfields, and 25% gets set aside for affordable housing. So this is one that's important for economically disadvantaged cities across the state, and I hope to get that bill signed to law. That basically means in a 2-year legislative session that we have, I sent 23 bills, 22 out of 23 got signed, and we'll get that remaining one signed into law next year. But we had a mix of different bills that were signed into law. Some were having to do with protecting victims of human trafficking. Others had to do with cracking down on illegal out-of-state gun trafficking. And with some of the recent crime you see, our state law enforcement agencies say 59 to 65% of guns confiscated during violent crimes were either untraceable or came illegally from out of state. On top of that, I worked on another major issue, which is transit funding. It was a bill originally, but it got put into the budget bill. There was a conflict between state and federal law. The U.S. Department of Labor was holding up $4.2 billion in transit money. That's our money for local buses, for BART, and LA County alone was $2.2 billion of those dollars. But we got the conflict law resolved, and in 1 year alone brought in $4.2 billion for jobs in our public transit systems in California. And I was proud to lead on that. I'm proud to come here on my 4th year. The first year I came to do a presentation to the San Juan Bautista Council. We were facing a $26 billion deficit, and I was part of the Assembly Budget Committee at that time. So we were having to make some really tough decisions that really hurt, I think, our local communities. Now I'm able to come back 4 years later, and thanks to the voters and the people of San Juan Bautista who supported Prop 30, we now have a projected surplus for 5 years. We're paying down our debt. Our credit rating's improving in California because of that. We instituted a rainy day fund that the voters approved Proposition 2. That means during better times we save more, so we hit hard times down the road, we can mitigate damaging cuts to critical services. We're also, California is leading on the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. A year ago we had 22% uninsured in California. In 1 year we've dropped that down to 11%. It still reminds us there's a lot of work to do, but California is certainly leading the way in terms of making healthcare more affordable. I was an attorney for the Monterey County Superior Court, and most of the people that were facing bankruptcies, especially during the recession, all had to do with a lack of health insurance at our San Jose Federal Bankruptcy Court. This year, I'm also proud to say that we've provided $5.6 billion more for our public schools, K through 12, over the previous year, and that's our commitment to make sure our students are receiving the resources they need to get a good education. Here locally, it wasn't a bill, but it was a budget play that I worked on. Our new courthouse, our beautiful courthouse in Hollister, was opened up. We had a grand opening on October 10th, but we were facing a dilemma because, as you all know, Sheriff Thompson is stretched thin and having enough deputies to patrol a very large rural county. And with the new courthouse and the new security features, the cameras, the intake of criminal defendants having their criminal court hearings, they needed additional security for the new courthouse. They were short at almost $500,000. We worked with the Administrative Office of the Courts, the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court, Tani Cantil-Sacayue, our presiding judge here locally, and our Chief Administrative Officer, and we were successful in getting over $400,000 for those new bailiffs that are needed to keep our courts safe. As a former staff attorney for the Monterey County Superior Court, that's critical because when you have cases having to do with domestic violence, child custody cases, criminal cases, all you need is somebody to go in there to put everybody in harm's way. So having that additional security will make this beautiful courthouse much safer for our local families. And I'm glad to be successful in delivering that for San Benito County. We've also are proud to implement what is called the Middle Class Scholarship. It went into effect this fiscal year. This year alone, 73,000 students benefited. It's our commitment to make college affordable for our students who are graduating from our high schools. It's going to be fully phased in over 4 years, but when it's fully phased in, it will provide families who earn $100,000 or less a 40% reduction in their tuition at the California State University system or the University of California. So if your child is going to attend UC Santa Cruz or UC Berkeley, that family will save $5,000 a year over 4 years. That's a $20,000 savings. If they're attending CSU Monterey Bay or San Jose State, that's a $2,200 savings over 4 years. That's almost $9,000 saved. We have a big fight with the University of California president because they're talking about trying to raise tuition. We're going to fight hard this year to make sure we keep that flat and not raise it anymore because college tuition is at an all-time high, and we want to make sure we make college affordable for our young people. I only want to talk about two major pieces of legislation that I think are important to San Benito County. First of all, thanks to the voter for passing Prop 1. This was put on the ballot through a bipartisan agreement. It was unanimous, 78-0 in the State Assembly, Democrats and Republicans working together to come up with short and long-term solutions for dealing with our water crisis and our drought. This was a photo I took. My wife just finished her mayorship in the city of Watsonville. She's originally from Porterville. But a year ago, these were lush orange groves. This photo was taken about a little over a month ago. Now they're going dry. Instead of growing oranges and lemons and tangerines, these orange groves are now going dry because of not having enough groundwater. And the overall in California, over 400,000 acres of prime agricultural land are either like this or sitting fallow because of a lack of water. And I put this chart up so that folks could see what has happened in only this year alone. At the beginning of the year in January, this is what California looked like. Most of the state was covered by the second worst category of drought called extreme drought. 10 months later in October, most state is in the worst category, exceptional drought. I thank God for the recent rain and the snowpack, because that certainly helps, but it's still going to keep us far behind. But we're facing, had there not been rain, it would be even a more severe crisis come next year. And when we're represented rich agriculture, that's critical for our county and the rest of California that probably produces most of the food for the entire nation. So our compromise, I think, I just brought this list out so residents and the council could see the different categories, and I think we passed out a sheet that breaks out all the different components of the water bond, but just to show what the good things are in the bond that will certainly help San Benito County. And again, it was a bipartisan victory, but $2.7 billion out of a $7.5 billion water bond will go to for the two major water infrastructure projects, which is the Sites Dam in Colusa County and Temperance Flats Dam just outside of Fresno. Those are the water storage systems for what is called the grid. And why does that matter to San Benito County? Because San Benito County is connected to that grid. That grid provides and delivers water to recharge San Luis Reservoir, and then there's a connection here to San Benito County from the San Luis Reservoir. So this is important for the people of San Benito County because they are connected to that larger system. But I also fought hard to get more money in what's called our Central Coast IRWIN, the Integrated Regional Water Management Plan. That's another pot of money just for the Central Coast region that includes San Benito County. And I was able to get $15 million more. The governor's office called me the night before we're going to take the vote, letting me know they helped us by putting a few $1 million more in that pot for a total of $43 million. There's money for the Coastal Conservancy, $80 million, $520 million for clean and safe drinking water. And that's important. I know San Juan has been dealing with safe drinking water issues, but also other communities in my district like San Lucas and South Monterey County, they were under an order not to drink their water because of nitrate contamination as well. Water recycling, $725 million. Groundwater sustainability, $900 million. And the other categories are listed there as well. Just to show you that as soon as the State Water Board is able to do the regs and put private applications, these are just different pots of money that cities like San Juan Bautista could apply for to improve their water quality, and I'll certainly be supportive of any application that you put forward to make sure we draw down those resources. The number one issue that a lot of counties aren't aware of is that in order to be able to qualify, the counties must be what is called CASGEM compliant. That is the groundwater elevation monitoring data that is submitted to the state. I think it's the Department of Water Resources. Monterey County is not in compliant, and I'm working with them to make sure they get up to compliance so that as soon as that money becomes available, they can compete and draw that money down. I'm going to be working with the San Benito County also to make sure that we're CASGEM compliant to be competitive as well. This photo, I only put it to remind residents where other communities were at. This was Mendota in 2009 where they had long food lines because there was a rationing of water, and when we don't have water, you can't grow crops. We're not growing crops, people are out of jobs. And when people are out of jobs, that hurts local businesses. People don't have enough money to buy groceries, pay the rent, eat at local restaurants. It hurts local businesses. So there was long food lines, and then they did a march from Mendota to San Luis Reservoir, just on the other side of the hills here, to raise attention to how the lack of water and the drought was hurting hardworking families in California. I'll say this real quickly. I had a bill to provide more safe drinking water, but also worked with a bill that was signed into law that I work with the California Farm Bureau having to do with water ponds, because some farms have their own ponds, and we try to streamline the regulations so that they can utilize every water source they have for good use on their farms. The last issue I just want to talk about very quickly is the implementation of a landmark bill that I got signed into law in 2013. This is the bill that will go into effect in about 2 weeks on January 2nd. That would allow immigrants to obtain a driver's license lawfully for the first time in 20 years in California. I always like telling people it doesn't give them a license, it only gives them the opportunity to earn it. So they have to take the written test, the driving test, they have to have auto insurance just like everyone else in case of an accident. These were just some of the photographs I took of a town halls we had, instructing people what they need to do to get their documents ready to pass the test. Hundreds of people turned out in Salinas at this town hall. This one was in Watsonville, jam-packed. And this was the one I just had in Greenfield during that hard storm that hit, and the rain was falling down hard. That Civic Center in Greenfield was packed with no chairs to sit in, with people who were trying to get ready and get information. So this is outdated. It should say 18 days, January 2nd, but this was also bipartisan. Our local senator, Anthony Canelo, was the first co-author of this bill, and several other Republicans worked together. I was the first person to be able to get the endorsement for the first time in 20 years by the California Police Chiefs Association. I worked at all the ag associations, from the Western Growers to the California Farm Bureau, the labor groups, human rights groups. We got everybody to agree and address everyone's concerns through the legislation I carried. It will help over 2 million immigrants to get their licenses, but like I said, they have to earn it, meeting all the traditional requirements, but they also have to prove some other requirements. You have to prove California residency, that they actually are indeed residents of California. The good thing is it's only going to be $33, just like everyone else. It won't cost any more. And the state has approved $65 million to implement that bill this year. There's going to be up to 1,000 new DMV workers, and they opened 4 regional offices throughout the state just to process AB 60 licenses, including the one in San Jose, which will cover all our area. I brought this image just to show you what these licenses will look like, because there was a lot of controversy, because federal law, the Federal Real ID Act of 2005 required that states that pass the driver's license law must have distinguishable features on the front of the license. So California is not the 10th state to do this. We're not the first. But in order to comply with federal law, there need to be some distinguishable changes. We were only going to change one letter. That's what was included in our bill. The Department of Homeland Security said that's not sufficient to comply with the Real ID Act. So we reached a compromise. So on the right-hand image, on the right top of the license, it will have 3 letters to distinguish this type of license. It'll say federal limits apply. It only says that limitations on that are that they cannot use it to board an airplane for interstate or interstate travel, I should say, and they cannot use it to enter federally secure buildings. That's the only limitation. Otherwise, it's the same as every other license. But many immigrants were concerned that they might be discriminated against, so we included some additional protection in the law. California is the first state to include an anti-discrimination provision. You cannot discriminate against anyone with this type of license. And the CHP and our local police departments have done a great job. All these town halls were done in conjunction with our police departments, our CHP. They didn't really support the law. They're not going to discriminate against anybody who has this kind of a license. In addition to that, another bill that was signed, AB 1616, basically says all information that's going to be submitted to the DMV is completely confidential, cannot be shared with any outside agencies. Another bill that I was a joint author on also made it clear that it's illegal to charge anybody to fill out a DMV application, because there is those scofflaw attorneys or notarios that would try to take advantage and exploit immigrants by trying to benefit for doing something that is free, that they don't have to pay anybody to do. But in the end, this is going to make our roads safer, because all these people who are already driving on the road, because you have to drive to work and take the kids to school, now they'll be able to be tested, know the rules of the road, they'll be insured. They'll benefit, because now if they get pulled over, their car's not impounded for 30 days and facing fines for over $2,000 to get their car out. But it's also going to be a huge economic benefit. There was national media attention last week, because with over 2 million people, they're going to be able to buy auto insurance, they're going to be able to buy cars. And as some of the local bank branch managers have told me, they have lines of credit, auto loans, but the number one requirement they must have is a license. So now they're going to be able to qualify, and I think that's going to be a boom in the billions of dollars to California. Lastly, I always like letting the council members know in case you get any questions from constituents. People are asking how do they make their appointments that are coming up after January 2nd. They could go visit their local DMV office and make an appointment. They could call the 1-800 number. But the quickest way is going online, either on their smartphone, at their computer at home. They have to just Google AB60, and the first link that will come up is the AB60 page at the DMV. They just go and do their own appointment online. The DMV just opened doing that in mid-November for appointments in the new year, and already 400,000 people have signed up for appointments. They're getting booked up till now, till March. So if you know anybody who could benefit from the law, or you run across constituents, we're telling people, go make your appointment. But the most important thing is to study for the written test. We're hoping that people, when they go in, could pass in the first try. The state of Nevada, under a Republican governor, passed this law and it went into effect at the beginning of this year, but yet 90% of the people that were going to take the test were failing on the first try. California could do better, but it takes encouraging our local families to pick up that book and study and make sure we pass the test. With that said, I just want to say thank you for your time. I know you got a lot of other things on your schedule, but I can answer a few questions or else I'll call it time to go home. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question? Go ahead. Yeah, you talked about the program for money for cities for water thing, and you talked about what you had to do to qualify, and that's put meters on all farm wells?
No, that's it is monitoring, but what happens is what CASGEM, the groundwater elevation monitoring program, what basically requires is the Department of Water Resources will ask for random sampling of well data, and it's usually from different farmers or wells that are owned by the county. That was the case in Monterey County. Monterey County was very difficult because the local water agency had an agreement with the farmers saying, we're going to collect the data, but we're not going to share with any outside agencies. So they had that agreement. So we're working through that process now with the farmers, and most of them are saying, we don't care, we want to get this money, we'll release the data, but they just have to work with making sure all the farmers whose well data is asked for, that they're okay with releasing it to the.
But to qualify for the program, we have to have the ability to.
Right, and in Monterey County, they already had the data. They just had to make sure they had the agreement to release it. I don't know what the direct situation is, if the local water agency for the county has the data and they're in the similarly situated.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions or so? All right. Appreciate
Thank you very much.
out.
If there is issues though, my door is always open. Please call me. I look forward to doing all I can to help the people of San Juan Bautista. This place is always special to me. Just about a week ago, I celebrated my 2-year anniversary getting married here at the beautiful Mission with my wife, who is also on the council. So I'm always well connected to local government issues. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time.
All right. Thank you. All right. What if I made a motion to move the sheriff's report up so we can get him back on our streets there? Okay, I'd like to move item D.
Yes, at this point, I think the next item was the audit, and I don't think the presenter is here at this point.
Okay, I was going to maybe move up the sheriff's report so we can get him back out on the street.
Yeah.
We'll pull him in there.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Do we need a roll call vote for that?
Please say aye.
All right.
Thank you.
I figure you'd want to have them just for the records.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First off, congratulations to the new members, mayor and vice mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry I haven't been around much lately. Getting my feet wet still, and every time I try to walk out of the building at 5 o'clock to come over here, something happens, so I apologize. Interesting for me, I graduated from Watsonville High with Assemblyman Alejo, and it was former Mayor Moore that used to chase us around when we tried to leave campus. So interesting. So for our activities, he never caught us, by the way. For our activities, you'll kind of look here. A lot of stuff was zeroed out. There was not much going on. But something of concern for us and what we're going to start trying to figure out how to work on it is that there were 3 stolen vehicles in the city in the month. For this area, to me, that's high. If we were talking countywide, it's probably not that big of a deal, but 2 of them, one of them was a trailer, but that doesn't make it any less important. But to have 3, and so far up to date this month, we've had another one. So that's something that we need to get a handle on and try to figure out what's going on. I think there's the most recent vehicle that was taken on the 14th was found burned. So I'm not sure, that's not very common for someone that just wants to steal a car for parts or something to take it and burn it. But we're trying to follow up on that. So as far as our traffic issues, again, what we're doing, same thing we've been doing for a while, is I have overtime deputies here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I'm trying to get our staff to log hours here when they're on regular patrol shift. So what they need to do when they come into the city and in the city, not working the highway, not out at the school, in the city, they have to notify dispatch that they're here, and then that logs what their activity, what they're doing. So we're continuing to do that. There was one attempted robbery. It was late. I neglected to note the date on here, but it was someone that was leaving one of the establishments right there, and she was approached by a male who demanded her purse, and acting quickly, she said she needed to get her keys. She retrieved some pepper spray and was able to spray this individual in the face, which got her the ability to get away. We have a sketch of that individual, which I'll email to you, and we can put out. Hopefully merchants can put it out. But we also need to follow up with the detectives need to follow up with some possible suspects on that. As of now, we have none. It's listed here as drug activity, that case number 1267. Actually what that was the deputy recognized somebody that they thought had a warrant, and they stopped them, and they did in fact have a warrant, and that, pursuant to that arrest, they found a bundle of methamphetamine on him. So it wasn't like a drug house or a drug lab or a search warrant. That was just a pedestrian stop. They logged 44 security checks, trying to get him out on foot. Again, we're trying to, and I need to know if it's not happening, but when I have the deputies here, if they are working on paperwork or they are doing something, I've asked them just to be monitoring the intersections, not parked at the school, not parked anywhere else off. You know, for us, we like to go and hide when we do our paperwork because officer safety, it feels strange to be out exposed when you're looking down at a clipboard, but because of the issues with traffic, I've asked them to not do that, to be visible. The disturbance case on page 2, case 1233, it came up as a disturbance based on the way it was coded in, but it was just some youngsters that were sending annoying text messages back and forth to each other. So don't think that there was anything big going on that. And then there is one case listed under suicide or attempt suicide that's miscategorized. That was a person had an arrest warrant. It was another pedestrian stop with an arrest warrant. So that should be clarified. And then there was nothing as far as the, for page 3, any of that activity. Also, I had a concerned person get a hold of me that there's been, on social media, there's talking about a rash of home break-ins in San Bautista and vehicle break-ins. We are working on updating our records management system, so it's not really easy to pull the information out. We did get approval for some funding to update our records management system. But what I was able to pull out to date, so from October 1st till today, there were 2 residential burglaries. They were not in the city. One was on Mission Vineyard Road, and one was out by the high school. So I know that I only bring it up because there is a sphere of influence that's going to affect the city. And if somebody's living just across the highway, not technically in city limits, and they're victimized, they're going to feel like they're part of San Bautista, and that's going to generate that discussion. So I don't want to discredit it, but as far as city limit, as far as the crimes occurring, I have not found anything. So there has been a report of a suspicious vehicle driving around, a white sedan. So I would ask anybody that sees anything suspicious at any time. That's one of the nice things about San Juan Bautista. It's such a tight-knit community. Everybody pretty much knows who should be where, who should be doing what. So anytime anything suspicious comes up, give us a call, and we'll do the best to get over here and handle it. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to give it a shot.
Captain, do we still have a memorandum of understanding with the Highway Patrol?
Yes.
So they could issue a ticket in town, or?
Yeah, okay, so I've met...
Someone asked me that question.
Yes. So Highway Patrol, just real quick, any peace officer in the state of California, anywhere in California, can take enforcement action. It's typically not common for Highway Patrol to enforce traffic in a incorporated city.
Right.
And I know that Roger and I have met with the CHP and we've discussed options. They're not interested in traffic enforcement within the city. I even asked that they consider taking crashes at the intersection here and the on-ramp to the highway, because those crashes are big crashes. And the deputies don't typically take crashes. So I was hoping for their expertise in that. They're not interested in doing that. But they will, traversing the county, they will, and they made a commitment to us, they will come through town. If they see violations, they will make enforcement stops on that, and they can absolutely make arrests, write tickets. They can do all of that. And in a pinch, if we have to ask for them to assist us to take a crash, if we just don't have anybody available, they'll do it. But it's not going to be an MOU issue where they agree to just do all traffic enforcement within the incorporated city.
Thank you.
Sir?
I wondered if we could get this electronically.
Yes. You should have got that electronically. I committed to send that over electronically, but it just got handed to me today in my mailbox, not electronically. So I apologize for that.
Well, I'd like to clarify. I'd like it in a spreadsheet, if that's possible. I don't want to create a bunch of extra work, but this is, if we're going to compile statistical information, this is very difficult to work with.
So one of the issues I ran into today when I speak to the records management system is that our records management system was tied into our computer-aided dispatch system. So all the stats and everything we used to be able to pull out came from a thing called CAD. Well, we don't have CAD anymore because the county doesn't dispatch. We don't dispatch on our own. We're dispatched out of Santa Cruz. So anytime you try to pull reports, it looks to CAD and it can't find it. So what we're doing is we have a person on staff in the sheriff's office now. It just came on a few weeks ago that has that expertise, and she'll be building whatever reports I ask for. So if that's something that would help, and I understand it helps.
Sure.
Electronic is what we should be putting out, and you should be getting before council meetings anyway. But we can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. The residential on Mission Vineyard, on that one there, that one's not on this one. That'll be on next month's report.
Well, by design, it wouldn't be on the list because it didn't happen in the incorporated city. But we can include that. Anything that we would consider in this area, in this sphere, even up San Juan Canyon, you know. But it's as far as if you want, it's how you want the stats reported for the city, for the incorporated city.
Yeah, because that little triangle there is in the city. It's a city right there, Roger. That was Unit 5.
I don't remember seeing the unit number on it, but if it was, then...
The mobile home park,
Yeah.
that's in the city.
Yeah, that's a city limit.
So yeah, that would be on the next one.
Okay.
Those last ones I spoke of, I just brought it up. Those both have occurred this month. This report's for November, but just because I had that inquiry from somebody, I just wanted to bring it up here to the council.
You mentioned the car fire. Was that one of the 3 vehicles listed here?
No, that's the vehicle that was stolen this month. It was located in Monterey County, burned.
Got it. Okay. So that not related to the car fire that occurred here in town.
Correct. That was an arson. Or we mean, it wasn't a stolen vehicle and
No.
then burned.
But that's going to list as arson?
I'm not sure. I know that they were talking about it today, but I don't know what the determination was from the fire department.
Thanks.
These vehicles that have been taken and stuff, is there any more pattern throughout the county?
No.
No?
Matter of fact, for a while we were seeing multiple stolen vehicles throughout the county each week, and it's really slowed down. So it's strange that within a month there were 3 here.
That we got. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions from any of the council?
And then the new San Juan car was in the parade, and it's been used. It's being used for overtime here. I'm asking the deputies that sign up for overtime to come and work in the city to bring it. So hopefully you'll be seeing that a lot more often. But it's here. It's got all its parts, and it should be ready to go. So thank you.
Thank you. You have a speaker's card for the sheriff's report? I'm waiting, Tony.
Moments of his time. I want to thank Captain Taylor for asking his deputies to park at intersections. I have noticed them in intersections, and I hope it's not affecting their safety at all, because it is useful. And I even stopped one day and mentioned a couple of cars I'd seen without registration right up the street from where he was parked, or without current registration, I should say. So that's the other thing is thanks for posting them at the intersections, and please also ask them to watch for vehicles parked for long periods of time, often without registration. And I've noticed by going onto the sheriff's website, which is vastly improved, now you can look at incidents that have happened recently. We are Area 3 on there, and I noticed Area 2 seems to also be very close. Are there other areas to look at when you're looking at those?
Pretty much the areas 2 and 3.
Areas 2 and 3.
This whole area around. So the incorporated city, and then just the outlying areas around the San Juan County.
Okay, that was all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more cards? Connie, any more cards? That's it? Okay, we'll move along to a presentation of the fiscal year 2014 audit. Ryan Jolie.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here tonight. Hopefully you've had a chance to maybe look it over, but I'll just go over a few highlights, and then if you have any questions, I can answer those questions. We're presenting the audit for the City of San Juan Bautista for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2014. We issued an unqualified opinion, meaning we found the city's accounting records and financial statements to be in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and that's in the opinion letter just beyond the table of contents. Then I would like to jump to page 5. That's where the general fund is presented. This is the main operating fund of the city, and the reason it's the only fund on page 5, it's the only one that qualified as what we consider a major fund. The other minor funds are towards the back of the financial statements on pages 28, 27, and 28. Yeah, 27, 28. But on page 5, the general fund continues to look good. This year, the general fund did have a deficit or a net change in fund balance of a negative $102,000. But what was budgeted, if you look on page 26, there was actually a budget deficit of $209,000 budgeted. So although it's a deficit this year, it came out better than as budgeted, so that's to be commended. Property taxes and a few other things came in higher than expected. Beyond that is the water and sewer funds. That's on page 10. Those are your enterprise funds that operate off user charges. Both of those funds are basically operating as intended. They're paying their debt service. Both those funds still do owe some money to the general fund, and so although they're paying for their current obligations, the increase in cash, as you'll note on page 11, you can see how much cash that these two funds increased, The water fund had an increase of $37,000 of cash, and the sewer fund had an increase of $175,000 in cash. So they're going in the right direction. Hopefully, over time, these funds will be able to reimburse the general fund for the advances that the general fund made to help these to help the enterprise funds. Other than that, everything else is pretty much standard. On page 23, you have your two debts that are being retired as scheduled. And this last fiscal year, the city made a little larger principal payment to Pavex note, or to Pavex, in order to renegotiate better terms on that note. So that was good to see. And then one other opinion letter we issued towards the very back on pages 29 and 30 has to do with our review of the city's internal controls. And for our review of that, we didn't identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal controls of the staff and the way it's organized here at the city. And then finally, we have a management report we issued to the city council. There we make a few disclosures that we're required to make to you. There were no exceptions to any of the comments that we disclose here. There were no significant accounting policy changes. There were no significant accounting estimates that we had to rely on, and we had no disagreements with management. So overall, once again, a positive audit. We appreciate city staff for working with us and getting us the information we need. Roger, Wendy, they all do a great job. Trish, getting us in and out pretty quickly. So we appreciate their help. And if you have any questions, I can answer those at this time.
Okay, all right, well, appreciate you coming up here and giving us the presentation on that. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to monthly financial statements and treasurer's report. I don't see Chuck here. Should we move that down?
Yeah, Chuck won't be here tonight.
He won't? Would you like to do that, Roger?
Yeah, basically your treasury report, it kind of shows in the general fund a negative, and that as a result of some delayed payments coming in from our sales tax, gas tax, stuff like that. But by and large, it's still a positive 84,000 because we've cut back on the balance fund and on expenditures. So overall, we're trying to keep it within the reduced revenue stage. The enterprise fund, it has a loss of $1,000 compared to a profit of 51. So that was a $52,000 turnaround. That's primarily because we've been pushing, you remember in the last hot months there, we've been pushing the drought resistant and cutting back on the users of water, and trying to meet that 20% goal that the governor established. The overall cash flow accrual is negative 87,000. However, it was largely due to a semi-annual debt payment, in our COP debt repayment plan. And the general fund revenue was 284, which is in line with what was budgeted. General fund expenditures, we've been sitting on a lot of stuff, so we can keep that down. So it's within striking distance of the revenues to the expenditures. We try to track that almost on a monthly basis to make sure we keep it in line. The general fund net change in the fund balance was a negative $205,000, which is less than we budgeted by $10,000. Enterprise fund revenues were 717, and is lower by 18,000. Again, that's from our emphasis to reduce the drought during the hot season, and that occurred in July, August, September. And the enterprise fund expenditures, we were reducing that just because we understood that some of the revenue from the water account would be less. So basically it was a minus $6,000. We were 18,001 and minus 6 plus 6 in the other, so it was a minus 6,000 altogether.
So basically, the enterprise fund combined year-to-date showed a profit was $1,000 overall. So
Okay.
we're kind of watching it closely, and we can get through this rough area.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Moving along. I don't see Chief O'Connor. Chief Fox, anything for the fire
And
chiefs?
in the warrants, you can see that the extremely low warrant listing here of only $38,000, which is historically low and everything, but some of the stuff we had last month was accelerated, and then this month it's a little bit lower. Again, Majority Brothers, the test well, was $6,700 on the top of the warrant list. And if there's any questions that you have.
Chris, anything on the warrants?
No, thank you.
Good.
No, I got nothing.
Rick?
No.
Okay. Okay, move on to the fire chief report. I'll see Chief O'Connor here. Might be showing up later, so we'll just put that down. Put that off for a little bit. Do we have anything on the library report there, Roger?
None other than what's in the agenda package here.
Okay. Then we'll just move down to G for the administrative report.
Just kind of a recap, Public Works, they've been working, and thanks to Sonora Vasquez, she's done a remarkable job and a lot of energy and everything, and the volunteers worked very hard to build that fence and everything, and we got the slab down, and we got the porta potty installed, so that will be permanently there until we get the restroom built. It's coming along very good. Other matters, the lift station, we're continuing to work on that and trying to get that online so that we can get the mobile home park there. Our emphasis there is to get the mobile home of the DSs hooked up so we can start running pump number 3 and see if it'll reduce the nitrate level similar to what we found in well number 2. We took and switched the Mission RV park off of their line and then put it on our new line. So that's our direction that we're going. Code enforcement, we've continued to look at signs. The sign ordinance went back to the Planning Commission, made some technical corrections, and they'll be bringing that back to you at the next meeting. And then we'll be starting the enforcement on that, and that's going to keep Matt here very busy. Planning Department, now that the appeal of the service station is behind us, we can concentrate on there. A lot of little projects are coming forward, and the Hacienda de Leal, they presented their expansion project to the Planning Commission. A lot of questions and a lot of concerns. The Commission reviewed the application in thorough and everything, and they passed a resolution ordering the applicant to prepare a mitigated negative declaration with emphasis on some studies of traffic, noise, and what else was there? Traffic, noise, archaeological, parking, building setbacks and stuff. And so he's got his marching orders that continued the design review until at such time as that negative declaration is presented to them, and then they can take action on that. In the meantime, he came back and asked that he would like us to take a look at the next Planning Commission meeting on the conditional use permit. The original motel was approved back in 1979 as a use permit, and it was for a 42-unit motel and a restaurant. For some reason, the restaurant never got built and everything, but he would like to modify the use permit to a conditional use permit with conditions, and that would give him the opportunity to serve food out in the courtyard and patio area. So that'll be coming back to the Planning Commission where they're concerned, and then they'll be reporting back to you. As far as the My report here, we've, on well number 2, we did a test well there. It came out positive. And we got good results of the water down at the 360 to 700 feet in depth. We're now trying to secure a commitment from the property owner for the site. The minimum site now is a 100 by 100, about a quarter of an acre. So we'll be trying to negotiate with the property owner to get that. And then we've got some proposals from 2 different well drillers to drill a well and get that going. And so that's our next effort. We've also been testing on a weekly basis. In our last test, I showed it to the mayor here. It came in at 20 milligrams per liter, substantially lower than what we initially started with. And that shows the positive effect of the Mission RV connecting to our new force main. I've also asked the state to take a look at the compliance order to see if they will modify it to allow us to relieve the restauants, schools, and daycare centers from using bottled water where they can serve directly out of the tap. And Jan Swiker from the Water District, she's reviewing that now, and we're in contact with her. Let's see, I think that kind of summarizes it. The other one that we will talk about tonight in the Bartle and Wells proposal is that the certificate of compliance loan, and that's something that I've been looking at for the last 3 years, is that you started it at 209 and it goes all the way to the year 2043, and we have about 29 more years to pay on it. And we've reduced it from $11,145,000 down to about $8,700,000. We've analyzed some of the criteria, and I've kind of been hedging because I know that the Federal Reserve eventually is going to start getting off of the quantitative easement relationship with the big banks, and then interest rates are going to start rising. And right now we've kind of put out the feeler, and interest rates are down in the 3 to 4% categories, and so it would seem to be an appropriate time for us to seek maybe a refinancing of the remaining debt service and extend it for the next 29 years to the 2043 period, but at a lower interest rate. The current bonds are sold at, started out in 2009 at 4%. They've been inching up, and currently we're paying 4.4% interest rate. Eventually it'll go all the way to 6.5%. Now as that where interest rate goes, we pay more onto the interest and less onto the principal, so it results in a constraint on some of our revenue. And what it'll mean eventually is that we'll have to make some substantial increase in our water and sewer rates. We don't want to do that, so we want to try to keep the rates solidified pretty much where they're at. And hopefully by this refinancing proposal, we've talked with a consultant, and he's willing to come down at his next meeting to make a presentation. I've included in your packet a kind of a summary of what he was talking about, and you can see in the next 5 years the debt service from 773 goes down to about 650, and that gives us a cash flow of about $150,000 to $60,000 for a 5-year period that we can kind of trap. Then after the 5th year, then it goes back up to 705. It's still less than what we're paying now at 773 each year. And at 705, and it'll carry all the way through until 209 at a constant rate. And the interest rate that we've been quoted is about 3.82%. So it's less than 4%. So it's worth us to examine this, and if it proves worthy for us to save, according to the initial studies here, it was about a $1.9 million savings over the life of the loan program. So I've asked him to come back on the January 20th meeting and make a presentation, and so I'll ask you there. Now, go back to the Bartle and Wells. The original rate study was done through the 218 process, and we sent it out, And that rate study is only good for a period of 5 years. And then we have to do another rate analysis. And I have a proposal in tonight for you to consider is that the rate analysis, one was $5,000, another was $9,000, and another was a mailer and stuff like that of $300. But I think that for us to do the rate analysis to comply with the 218 process, they will handle the mailer and the rate analysis, and it would cost us about $14,000. And I would say that it's almost mandatory we want to continue, because if we don't, then we're going to be out of compliance, and we will not be able to apply each year and the rates of both the sewer and the water we would apply, and then this is the San Francisco Oakland Index CPI. And it comes out to about 1.5 to maybe 2% increase, and so we've been adjusting the rates to keep abreast of the inflation in the San Francisco Bay Area here. Without that, we would be locked into where we couldn't do any incremental increasing. The new rate analysis would give us that ability to do the CPI over the next 4 to 5 years, or if you would like, then it would also give you the ability to adjust the rates whatever you feel is appropriate so that you can meet your debt service. The debt payment will drive what the rates are going to be. And we're still, like I said in our report, we still have $8,795,000 due on the balance.
Good. Everything?
Roger, how close is Diaz to hooking up to the lift station?
As soon as we can get the electrician out, the pumps are set, the lead wires are up. We've drilled through the walls of the lift station, the controller's installed, everything's ready, and it's now getting an electrician to hook up to the controller, sequence it, and getting it operating, testing it, and away it goes. And
So he got his pipeline run?
His pipeline is installed and to the manhole, and it's ready to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got it now.
So everything is
We're
pulling
down to
together. It's just
electrician.
now
That's it.
getting the last
Yeah,
bits
we
and
could find
pieces.
one in town,
Yeah.
I don't know. We could find one.
You
I
guys
think
have
he
any-
left. I don't know.
It's Bob here.
Yeah, Jolene, we need Bob about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay. Okay. Anybody ever have any more questions?
No, just that's a really good thing about refinancing the bonds. I know the healthcare district did it and saved over $3 million of taxpayers' money. So
Yeah.
it's on a bigger nut.
And this
but-
is the same firm that Linda and Wendy had used with with their organizations over at the harbor, and they did the refinance, and it again saved them some money.
Yeah. And it's, from what I hear, and I don't know that, but
Yeah.
say this is about the right time. This
Yeah.
year is the right time to go.
And that's why I wanted to act upon it now. If we didn't do anything, we could wait until 218 when the threshold is there. But then at 218, I don't know what the interest rates are going to do. And so, yeah.
All right, we'll move along. Item H, public meetings and committee reports. Do you have anything?
Just me.
I think it's going to be just me time.
Yeah.
No,
The only thing, I had a COG meeting, and there is this coming COG meeting on Thursday, the resolution that we passed last month will be on their agenda.
Okay.
To basically try to get Caltrans to do that study out there. And then I saw something came back that Caltrans said it was going to cost $150,000 or something like that to do that study.
That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know, maybe we can get some volunteers to go out there and count cars or something. I don't know what it's all about. It seemed like a ridiculous amount of money. But
Well, I think the details of the type of study is they got to do it on a speed study as well as a volume study.
Yeah.
And that's costly, yeah.
And they'll probably want us to pay it.
Oh, yeah.
At which time, then it'll be our decision whether we want to. I don't know if we can get COG to pay for it or not. We can try.
At least something. On to that. I had an intergovernment committee. There was really nothing concerning San Juan. Just most of the reports that came through. Fire committee. Me and Mayor Vasquez and Supervisor Botello are going to meet in the first of the year for a possible JPA for the fire departments for the area, just for discussions.
Next agenda item.
All the equipment, fire department and stuff's been doing really well. The call volume here in town has been really low, which has been good. And I just got handed.
That's for the next agenda item.
Oh, okay.
Pass it down to the.
Yeah. And pretty, so it's been running pretty smooth. And we'll be meeting again next month, first Thursday. If anybody would like to attend, it'll be at the City Hall in Hollister at 8:30.
May I ask one question?
Sure.
Why, the reason the question comes up is people see the fire truck with Hollister on it. They want to know what Hollister's doing in San Juan. But my suggestion was is that now that or maybe we should wait until the end of our 2-year trial period, but to rename the whole fire department San Benito County Fire Department.
That's why we're talking about the JPA?
Yeah.
That would fall under that.
That's what would happen.
Yeah. In order to get a fire district going, it would take a little bit more, and to have that on the ballot in time, that would be a voter's decision to create a fire district. We're not sure if we can put that together in time to have it on the ballot. So start with the JPA, and then possibly 2016 we can start working on a district for that. The Hollister fire engine's been here. We haven't had a lot of ventilation with the fire engines in that bay there. There's been some of the complaints and stuff of the smell of the exhaust on our San Juan engine. The engine that they brought over from Hollister is a clean burning fire engine. It has a burner inside the exhaust system, so it pretty much puts out, zero fumes and zero exhaust. So that's kind of why it's here on that part.
There's people from the Strategic Plan Committee. Chairman is here. If you'd like to you may want to ask.
We have yeah.
I don't know, John, if you were.
I thought it was under item 7, but.
I was thinking of the, yeah, you want to wait till then? That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, if we.
And then Eric's here from the Neighborhood Watch as well.
Good evening, council members. Congratulations to those of you who have been re-elected and elected. We had a neighborhood watch meeting on December 11th, and our honored guest was Supervisor Anthony Botello. Had a great discussion with him. He gave us a lot of history on the budgetary constraints that the county has had, which trickles into how the sheriff gets their funding and the cuts they've had door to door and how they're rebuilding that. Next month, I encourage everybody to show up for a meeting on January 8th. Our guest is going to be Sheriff Thompson. So I invite everybody to come to City Hall, 6 p.m. Thursday, January 8th. Again, Sheriff Thompson will be coming. We'll be have a question and answer with him here. I'll keep mentioning it, our website, nwsjb.com. We get 7 to 10 inquiries a month, people wanting to be on the email list. So I keep adding them to our master list. And if you'd like to join, you again can go to nwsjb.com. There's a place to join there. Even with all those additional people, though, we haven't really seen a whole lot of additional attendance. So I'm trying to brainstorm on how to get people a little more involved and get in with the process. Trying to figure out what we can do, where do we go next. As Captain Taylor had alluded, somebody had written him regarding some break-ins. That was an email actually I had sent to him. I had seen on social media that there were some break-ins and was just kind of curious what he knew about them. And it seems like there's a fair amount of crimes and happenings that are going on that perhaps aren't getting reported. I'm just making a sheer guess on that, but it just, and I haven't seen the most current report to see if some of those have shown up, but I encourage everybody, if you have a crime that happens to your personal property, your car, or whatever, call it into the sheriff's department. If nothing else, it'll help them track. If you, I'll remind everybody again, if you call into the sheriff department and you want a response back from the deputy, ask for it, and they will. I get a pretty good response if I ask them to call me back, and they do call me back. So the way you get a hold of the sheriff's department, easiest way is just call 911. Don't be afraid to call 911. That's how our sheriff department, that's how we get in touch with our sheriff department here in San Juan Bautista. And if you do call into the 911 dispatch, make sure you tell them right off the bat, I live in the city of San Juan Bautista, and that will clue them in that it's going to go to a sheriff department so that they can get it on their list. Regarding the CHP in town, we actually saw the CHP come through town a couple weekends ago. We were putting up Christmas lights and such. We did see CHP make a couple of rounds through. They actually parked a little bit down near Donner and 3rd Street, made a couple of rounds through, so that was encouraging to see them with that. And like I had stated, I did email Captain Taylor with some items of just clarification and such. And he also offered to take me on a ride along, so hopefully we can go up a ride along with him and see how their day goes.
Good.
Any questions?
Anybody for anything?
No, thank you.
No. All right, thank you. Did you want to have a report from strategic planning?
No, they have an agenda item later
Oh,
on.
okay.
And I
So we'll just move to
wait
that
to hear
then.
from them.
All right, so we'll move to item 6, public hearings. Consider appeal of Planning Commission approval of initial study and mitigated negative declaration of Rancho Vista subdivision and general plan amendment to change urban growth boundary and land use designation.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, the appeal was submitted by Arloff Fulton Holding Company. He has submitted a withdrawal of the appeal, and I passed that along there. Bob is in the audience there if he'd like to speak, and he has withdrawn the appeal.
All good, Bob?
No, I'll be up later.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll move along to item B. Consider adopting resolution 2014-48. 48, approving the initial study and negative declaration and amendment of 1998 general plan, urban growth boundary, and land use designation of 38.87 acre lying adjacent to and southly of San Juan Hollister Road, APN 012-190-014, 022, 038, and 039.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just to give you a background and everything, the Planning Commission looked at the land use designations clear back in 2012 and recognized that the industrial zoning district encompasses only a 1.2% of the total land use of the city of San Juan Bautista. That gave a severe limitation for the city to advance and try to promote industrial development. And industrial development, you know, is job opportunities and job creation as well as expanded tax base. And so they took a look at the area and they felt that right in where our well number 3 is that was the appropriate place to put a industrial development with emphasis on an agricultural type business park. They embarked upon a environmental analysis of the area, did an initial study and everything, and they approved back in March of 2013 expanding the urban growth boundaries to encompass 4 different properties. The 3/4 of an acre that the city owns on well number 3, 12.5 acre that is currently owned by Dale Koch, 18.07 acres that's owned by King Dominguez, and etc., and a 7.5 acre owned by the Ottoboni. They expanded and approved that project to amend the urban growth boundaries through the general plan and to designate the land industrial for the 12.5 acre, the 3/4 acre, and the 18 acre, and the 7.5 acre. They said that would designate that as to remain as agriculture inside the city. So that's there. The Planning Commission approved that, and a copy of that resolution is in there. Tonight it's coming in front of you to do the same thing, and to take their recommendation and follow through with it is to adopt the resolution approving the initial study and negative declaration to amend the general plan and rezone it according to the Planning Commission's recommendation. And that includes the 4 different parcels.
Alrighty. So if we have everybody, if we can get a motion?
I have a question.
What?
No?
No.
No, go ahead.
No question?
Yeah.
On page 2 of the resolution, item 11, forgive my ignorance, but I don't understand why that's in there.
Page 2.
Page 2 of the resolution.
Now that's the resolution of the Planning Commission to 21431? Or is it the resolution that for the city council?
Of the city council.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. And which?
Number 11.
The amendment of the 1980 General Plan land use designation from agriculture to low density of the 28.3 acres. That shouldn't be in there. That should be struck. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that was probably a carryover.
Yeah, I figured.
Which item was that? Number 11.
Yeah.
Number 11.
So we'll delete item 11. Yeah.
Okay. We'll just make that in the motion.
Sorry.
So so we'll need a motion for that with the
First, I think
attachment.
you should
Any public comment?
accept comments from the general public.
Got ahead of that one. Do we have any public comment?
I have another question.
We'll give Connor a break. Did anybody in the audience have any public comment on that resolution? Okay. And
I have another question.
Okay.
Sorry. On figure 2, the urban growth boundary amendment proposed, there's no parcel numbers in the supporting documentation. They refer to parcel numbers where they're talking about where the fault lies. And I was just curious which one is, they refer to parcels 2, 3, and 4, and which ones are those?
And that would be on
3 and 4.
Figure 2 in the...
this one here? Yeah. Yeah, the 3 shaded ones and everything, yeah. The San Andreas Fault runs diagonally through the 18-acre parcel. And it doesn't affect the 12 acres, and it doesn't affect the 7.5 acres. You know, it runs diagonally through the 18.087 acres.
Okay. Oh, I think we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
Thank
yeah.
you.
It also slides through the corner of the Mission RV Park at the southwesterly corner. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's where you live, right?
Kicking me out.
Again, there hasn't been a specific tentative map and a development plan. There's been several that have been proposed and matriculated around through the staff and the client and everything. And I think once it becomes into the city, then they could probably make a formal application, and then they'll bring it back into the planning commission for discussion.
Any other questions? And there's no public comment? Okay. So if I need a motion for that?
So moved.
Resolution number...
Oh, I got to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Make me do it.
Okay.
Okay, now I got to
This one,
find
just
it.
that one right there?
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
borrow
you-
it real quick? 'cause
you
I
must
just-
withdraw
one
my
page
motion.
fell over.
I got to read. Where did I find that?
In C?
What's that
Come over to
stuff?
C, just before C.
Let me see.
And then it's about a quarter inch back. Just that one right there? I don't know if you can any further.
You guys make this really
Show
hard.
it to,
It would
let
be-
him read it
I'll-
off
yeah.
there.
It would be
I'll just read
under-
it off of here.
It'll
It'd
be
be
here all
under,
night.
it's out of order, it should be under C, and you have to adopt that first resolution before you can take this next resolution under B.
And that's resolution 2014-48?
Dash 48.
Yeah. Mhm.
A resolution, do you want to read the whole thing? A resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the initial study and a negative declaration for the amendment of the 1998 General Plan Urban Growth Boundary and Land Use Designation to Industrial, Political, Quasi-Public, and Agriculture of 38.87 acres lying southerly of San Juan Hollister Road, APN 012-190-014, 012, 038, and 039.
I'll second that.
Oh, you got these?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, roll call vote.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Aye.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martirana,
Aye.
Mayor Lund.
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker, passes unanimously.
Thank you.
What were you saying about C?
C,
Now
This
we go
is
back
what-
to B, which is the resolution of the City Council amending the urban growth boundaries and land use designations of the 1998 General Plan for the 38 acres.
On my list, that's C.
Mhm.
That's in-
It happened to be in mine under B.
It's under
Uh,
B.
B, yeah. And that is, the first is you're approving the initial study and negative declaration. The second one, you're approving actually the amendment to the
Okay.
general plan.
And I'll move that. And what number is that?
49.
That's going to be 49.
49. Taking sequential, right? A resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista amending the urban growth boundary and land use designation of the 1998 General Plan of 38.87 acres lying adjacent to and southerly of San Juan Hollister Road, consisting of 4 parcels, APN 012-19-014, comma 022, 038, and 39.
With the deletion of finding number 11.
For number 11, yeah, with the deletion of findings for number 11.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Any opposed?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
aye.
Councilmember Bach,
Aye.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martirana,
Aye.
Mayor Lund.
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker, passes unanimously.
Okay, moving along to D, consider adopting an ordinance for the pre-zoning of .78 acres of land situated at 651 San Juan Hollister Road from agriculture to public, quasi-public, APN 012-190-039, owner, City of San Juan Bautista.
And Mr. Mayor, members of the council, again, this parcel is well number 3 site. Now that you've adopted the amendment that it's going to be industrial, now we can pre-zone it to where it'll conform to the general plan and the current zoning that is what being used at. You're pre-zoning it so that it would set up to be annexed into the city. Currently, the well number 3 site is in the county, and theoretically any work that we do upon that, we would have to go get a permit from the county to perform permits. By bringing it into the city, that would negate that possibility. So this is kind of some house cleaning issues that the Planning Commission has been working on for the last year and a half.
Do we have an ordinance number for that? Is there an ordinance number?
That is ordinance, Trish. Would it be 50?
Oh, so it follows the resolution numbers?
Oh, ordinance number.
Yeah.
You don't assign an ordinance number until it's discussed.
This is to adopt the ordinances to read by title only and introduce.
The number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at your next meeting, you'll come back and adopt it, and then the ordinance becomes effective 30 days thereafter.
Okay.
So the motion would be is I hereby introduce and read by title only ordinance.
Do I have a motion for that?
Want me to do it?
Yeah, you do it, I'll second.
Let me introduce
Teamwork.
an ordinance of the City Council to the City of San Juan Bautista pre-zoning a .78 acre parcel of land situated at 651 San Juan Hollister Road, APN 012-190-038.
Second.
We refer for public comments on ordinance or just on the resolutions?
You can have public comments.
Yes. Okay, we call it for public comment. Do we have anything for public comment on that? Okay, we have first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Aye.
Councilmember Edge?
Aye.
Councilmember Malvern?
Aye.
Mayor Lund?
Aye.
Members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, moving on to item E. Consider adopting an ordinance for the pre-zoning of 18.07 acres of land situated at 375 San Juan Hollister Road from agriculture to industrial, APN 012-190-022. Owners, McDonald, King, and Dominguez.
Again, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, again, this is the one of the 4 parcels that you approved the initial study and negative declaration for to adjust and amend the urban growth boundaries and land use designations for that industrial agricultural business center complex.
Okay. Do we have any public comment? Hi, do you have a speaker card? Did you fill out a speaker card?
No, I didn't.
Okay, if you want to come on up and just state your name and address the council.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Ron Dominguez. I live in Richmark in Hollister. I represent a group of local investors who have owned this property for over 15 years. I'd like to thank the City Council and the staff for moving this project forward. Our local group of investors have long hoped that the best and highest use for this property could be achieved for the city. We feel that the rezoning allows for the opportunity for the city to attract new and valuable businesses, which will create local jobs and significantly increase the tax base for the city. The landowners and applicant are long-term members of the community who have been active participants in organizations such as Rotary Club, Economic Development Corporation, County and San Juan Chambers of Commerce, Community Foundation for San Juan County. These organizations have supported historical preservation fairs and other events that make this community a great place to live and work. We think it's time to bring new agriculture businesses within the city limits. Seed sales alone would bring tens, if not thousands, of sales tax dollars into the city. In addition, larger ag buyers would use the local restaurants, entertainment businesses, and more to grow the local economy. We're pleased that a local hotel is now operating at business class levels, and additional business convenience services are being added to the southern end of the city. We're very supportive of the city completing the pre-zoning and creating a large and valuable opportunity to enhance the city budget, to pay for more community services, improve infrastructure, and fund historic preservation projects with the economic benefits of this pre-zoning. So we urge you to approve this pre-zoning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more public comment? Okay, so I'm going to close and bring it back to the council. Any questions before I hear a motion?
You want to do it? You want me to?
Go for it. You have such a pleasant speaking voice, Tony.
I'd like to introduce an ordinance and read by title only. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista pre-zoning 18.07 acre parcel of land situated at 375 San Juan Hollister Road. Assessor's parcel number 012-190-022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Rich?
Aye.
Councilmember Marshall?
Aye.
Mayor Lund?
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, move along to item F. Consider adopting an ordinance for the pre-zoning of 1.63 acres of land situated at 600 Lawson Drive from agriculture to public quasi-public APN 012-140-027. Owner, City of San Juan Bautista. Roger?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you date back to your warrant that you passed earlier. There was one item on there, and I call your attention to it, and that is property taxes paid to San Benito County. Now, because well number 3 and our reservoir is not within the city, we have to pay property tax. This is our reservoir up on top of the hill. It will be annexed. It will negate that thing next year, so we won't have to pay that thing there. Again, this is a housekeeping issue where we recognized the 208 infrastructure project, purchased the property from the Nyland. It built a 1.2 million gallon reservoir up there, put all of the utility lines, everything, but it remains in the county. It's not in the city. So we want to annex it.
Okay. I'll open it up to public comment. No public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. Any questions before?
Yeah, the address, I think, is incorrect.
Is it? Yeah, that doesn't look like the right spelling for it.
Lawson?
That is the correct spelling. I was corrected by John Nyland in Washington. We always spelled it the other way.
It's not what's on the street sign.
Yeah, right. And the street
We'll
sign
get to
we
that
have
one.
to change and correct it.
Okay.
And that's after his uncle on his mother's side.
There goes our tax savings.
I still don't believe it.
Okay.
There's a history. We get a refund on the
It
sign?
had to have been named after Father-in-law Suan.
Yeah.
I bet if we go back at
Yeah,
some old maps,
exactly.
I bet
Yeah.
we could find it spelled differently.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Anybody want to make a,
Okay, I'd like a motion to make a motion to introduce and read by title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista pre-zoning a 1.63 acre parcel of land situated at 600 Lawson Drive. Assessor's parcel number 012-140-027.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Aye.
Councilmember Edge?
Aye.
Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Mayor Lund?
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion was stated by the maker passes unanimously.
All right, moving along to item G, consider...
Let me ask you this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do I have to leave the room? I'm on the cemetery board.
You should recruit yourself and go into the audience for this item. Yeah.
Who's going to introduce this?
All right, everybody ready?
We're not going to know what to do.
Okay, I move we adopt this
Hold
ordinance.
on, let me go through
Okay.
the finding readings.
Oh.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up on this, we discovered the original city limits line cut through the cemetery, and 2/3 of it is in the city and 1/3 of it is in the county. It's no big deal and it could reside there, but it creates a law enforcement jurisdiction where if something happened in there, then the sheriff's got to come in, and then if not, the police, and it's a jurisdictional. And we felt that when we were doing the house cleaning of the annexing everything, let's bring it into the city and bring it in so that it's all under one jurisdiction.
All right. Anybody from the public have a comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council.
And I think all the people that reside there wouldn't object to it either.
So is this the piece that we're annexing?
Yes.
And that's in the city?
All right, I'm going to read the title only for the ordinance.
Okay.
And an ordinance of the city of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista to rezone a 2.72 acre parcel of land situated at 65 Monterey Street, APN 002-080-001.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Abstained.
Abstained.
We're absent.
He did.
Councilmember Edge?
Aye.
Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Mayor Lund?
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-1.
It's not an estate, he's...
4-0
So
with
it's
one
gonna be a-
abstention. 4-0 with one abstention.
Just want to make sure I got my right note here. Okay, move along to... Hey, welcome back. Okay, we'll move along to item H. Consider adopting resolution 2014-50. Will that be 50? Approving the draft initial study and mitigated negative declaration of Rancho Vista subdivision project to change the urban growth boundary and land use designation of the area from agriculture to low-density residential, APN 002-220-006. And Roger?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this resolution is approving the draft initial study and mitigated negative declaration for the Rancho Vista subdivision. The project lies west of the San Juan Hollister Road and north of the Creek Bridge subdivision. The Planning Commission has reviewed this and has adopted a resolution recommending to the City Council, and it involves 28.83 acres. The land is inside the city limits currently of the city, and so the urban growth boundaries should be adjusted because the urban growth boundaries does not include that, but the parcel then would be in the city limits.
Okay. Alrighty,
The applicant is in the audience.
okay. Do we have any public comment?
Carl Bach.
Okay. Cara?
Thank you, members of the council, and congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
Our H&I, it's the same property that we're talking about, is that correct?
Haven't got to I yet, but
I know, but I just want to make sure, because I'd like to address both.
okay.
Also, I'm here to oppose the change, zoning change and repeal of the urban growth boundary and the project. I submitted several written comments on or before the public comment deadlines that were posted by the city, and I'm just wondering if you have those in your packets.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have city limits, and within the city limits is an urban growth boundary. And so there is this band. And within that band, we have agricultural zoning. And what that does, it provides us with open space, green space. We do not have control what happens outside of our city limits in the county. And so this is the way, by having this urban growth boundary and this agricultural zoning, we can protect our open space. The general plan discusses how the surrounding landscape is as much a part of our character, or the character of the city, as are the developed areas. It sets the stage for a step back in time, and it enhances the visitor's experience of an authentic historic town. Allowing repeal of the urban growth boundary and rezoning to accommodate this developer creates suburban sprawl. We're going to have this huge housing development. And by the way, Creek Bridge was inside our urban growth boundary. Why are we grasping at this proposal? Development fees are only a one-time fee, and they're really not even that much. Property tax returns to the city are negligible. And as we all know, we have very serious water problems. Okay, this is really bad piecemeal planning, just grasping at these things. Somehow we think that this is going to boost the economic well-being of our city. These people are going to work in Silicon Valley. They're going to pass through Gilroy. They're going to shop at Costco and the other big box retailers. And maybe they'll go to some of our restaurants. It's really not going to boost the economy. A number of years ago, and I don't know how many of you were around when this was going on, but we started work on a specific plan. The focus for development was south of Highway 156. And this is where we were going to have our development. We never contemplated development in this area that's before you currently. We also have the McCullamy Street corridor. That is zoned for development. Why are we not focusing on that area? It's within our city limits. It's ready to be developed. This project and others that have been identified or that are online will give us 29% growth over the next 3 years. How can this be in a city that passed a 1% growth ordinance a number of years ago? And supposedly, you know, it's not valid. But even the Department of Housing and Community Development has said that a 3% growth per year is adequate. We're way over that. This is really not what the residents of San Juan Bautista want, in my opinion. And I'm sure that I speak for the silent majority, because once those bulldozers come in, I think and they start scraping the land at the Christopher Ranch, you're going to hear about it. So please do not support this application. Thank you.
Any more public comment? See Jolene in there?
Oh, me?
I have to disagree with my friend Carabonk on this. I think that this presents a tremendous opportunity to the city to continue with the idea of being a green city, a more walkable community. This project has to include open space. It has to be the right kind of project. In my opinion, I barely see that piece of land when I'm coming into the city. I certainly hope that all of that property on the other side of it remains just like it is. I enjoy, just like Kara does, the view coming into the city on all those county properties and the ag. The biggest growth out there is something that I actually like to see. It's the produce companies, but they're not beautiful buildings. And you're going to see that, but it's good economic growth for the area. And housing in that area keeps our community from being divided by the 156. If we were to build on the other side of the 156, you've got a divided community. Who wants to walk across that highway? I know I don't. I could shortcut to the post office from my house by going through the orchard and across the highway. I don't do that. My dog's frightened of the highway. I don't really like crossing it myself, so I'll go the long way to the post office to avoid crossing that highway. And if we put things on this side of the city, I think it makes our community more walkable. I don't think there's any reason to think that everyone who lives there will commute to San Jose unless we don't go about building it the right way. We have to be very careful with planning this community. We may not accept exactly the plans that are currently being looked at. We may want to change those plans and say, we need a little less houses, we need to make sure that there's more passive solar going on. There's a lot of things that we can do with a new development like this attached to the city. There's no hopscotching here. It's a great place. And sure, I'd love to see more infill within the city, but nobody's come forward who has the money to put a project on any of the other parcels. This is a project that we can make work for this city.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shauna Creel. I live actually adjacent to that property that you're talking about. I would have to completely disagree with the previous speaker, and I completely agree with Caravon. This is a tremendous impact on the view shed, 85 homes out in that beautiful area. The impacts to traffic, if you think about that, 85 homes, 160 probably drivers, that's, 320 trips a day. Huge impact to us as far as transportation. There's beautiful birds and other wildlife out there. I don't know if those have really been considered very well. This is a development 2.5 times larger than any development this city has ever seen. You need to take your time, be careful, conscious about the decisions you're making here. This is a discretionary approval. You don't have to do this. It's completely discretionary. And I truly don't believe it's in someone's best interest.
All right, thank you. Would anybody else like to comment? No more comments? Okay, I'm going to close. Ma'am?
Yeah, I did write the paper.
Okay.
I do believe that this will be a tremendous...
If I can get your name and address?
My name is Rosa Loaiza, and I believe that this project will be very, very good for the city of San Juan Bautista. I am a person across the street of the project. I think the emphasis should be more how is the project going to be done and how, how many houses and all these kind of things. Not to think about 85 houses, but maybe 25, maybe 35. Just how the whole thing is going to be separated and with gardens, with beautiful living surroundings that we can all enjoy it. But penalizing the property owner with nothing also is not fair. So if the property owner has to worry about, well, this, that, it's just not fair. Somebody will have to actually buy all that property and make it into a green belt. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion.
All right, thank you.
Eric?
Eric Redistoff, I live at 1108 3rd Street. I'm still a little bit up in the air on the development itself. I've seen some of the proposed layouts of the project. My bigger concern on anything else going at that end of the street is traffic. We've got the D'Ambrosio project. It's 27 homes. I know the property's up for sale right now, and I'm going to guess that project is several years off. Within that the D'Ambrosio project, there was expansion of 3rd Street, although I believe it's still not to be enough for the traffic just for D'Ambrosio. If this project does go through, 3rd Street's going to be an absolute disaster. Right now, it's already a disaster. It's barely a lane wide. Speeding right now is already a gigantic problem. I know we have a roundabout going in to help control traffic, but serious consideration when this starts coming down the line, and this may be off base to tonight's vote, but this is just something to please keep in mind, is that the traffic that's going to be generated coming down 3rd Street alone is going to be, it's just going to be a mess. 85 homes, let's be conservative, 125 vehicles coming through there, plus another 27 homes, D'Ambrosio. Now we're up to, call it 150, 175 additional trips coming through. It's just going to be very excessive on 3rd Street. I don't know what can be done with that, but and I've spoken with the presenter of this project a few times about this, and he kind of knows my views. But if this project does go through, as this project comes up on your plate, I would encourage you to try to find ways to control traffic. Again, 3rd Street, it's just going to be a disaster. It's already just out of hand right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more from the public? Any more comment? Okay, I'm going to close it and bring it back to council.
Wow.
Chris, would you like to?
We had one written comment that was submitted to us, and that was from John Freeman. Yeah, right. Yeah, and if you want me to read it, I think I got copies to you.
Yeah, we all got copies.
And basically, he was talking about the economics of a development, and he cited the cost of community service, the COCS. And he presented facts here that the study has consistently showed that the changing agricultural open space into residential cost cities spend more money than they gain. You know, and statistics has developed a ratio of the COCS ratio accurately shows that what will happen to the city budget in the future. The ratio of residential development between 1.2 and 1.5 means that for every $1 of tax revenue brought in, $1.20 to $1.50 will be spent on public services on the tax unit. It goes on to ask your considerations is that you should really look hard at this.
Okay, Roger, were you able to go through and make some?
Yeah, I went through. John's there, and I understand his. The economic aspects of it. I take a different viewpoint because I worked for the town of Los Gatos, city of Campbell, city of Hollister, and I understand what bigger cities are. San Juan is unique in its sense because we only have 9 employees. The salaries are 1/2 of what you'll find up in the Bay Area. We're very efficient. We don't have a lot of overhead. The cost of community services in San Juan is much lower than other jurisdictions. So it's hard to use those parameters that are postage stamps throughout California. I've looked at the general fund, and just the general fund itself, property tax. If we looked at 28 acres in the county as agriculture, and I'm saying is agricultural land is $30,000 an acre. That gives an assessed valuation, an AV of about $850,000. The property tax on that is 1% or $8,400. San Juan only gets 3.2% of the tax dollars. The rest goes to the school, the county, fire districts. So they're only going to get about $271 out of this. Okay? Now that's assuming that the assessed valuation is $30,000. If they bought it back pre-Jarvis Gann and it has a lower assessed valuation,
Williams Act.
the assessed valuation is only 2% since this Jarvis Gann. It could be much lower. Today, if you put it into residential, you got 85 lots, and if the homes sell for $400,000 to $450,000, that's $3.8 million. If you subtract the $7,000 personal exemption that everybody gets on their property tax, that gives you a assessed valuation and the ad valorem tax rate of $3.2 million. The property tax is $32,300. San Juan Bautista would get 3.2% of that, or $1,033. 3 times what an agricultural land gets. Every subdivision that we've approved, including the Creek Bridge subdivision, has a landscaping and lighting district. That landscaping and lighting district, those owners pay for that service. Inside that budget that we have administrative fees and everything, and it generates roughly approximately $101.43 per lot that comes back to the city in the general fund. If I take that $101 and I say that it's going to be similar to the 85 lots, that's going to generate $8,600 to the general fund. The Melrose district that we includes police, fire, and street maintenance. The maximum for a Melrose is $300. 300 times 85 lots is $25,000. That'll go right to the general fund. Sales tax revenue. We get $407,000 currently for 1,906 residents. If you divide that, every resident pays $213. If I extrapolate that for 85 lots, that comes to $58,081. Gas tax, we get $40,000 of 2104, 2105, and 2107.5 gas tax funds that go into our streets and highways. That's $21.30 per lot or per house. Okay, that brings us $5,794 a year. Vehicles tax license. Again, we get $103,000, and that's based on 1,906 people and all the cars that we have. If we say that person is going to pay $54, that's going to generate about $14,700 just in sales tax and gas tax for us, an additional that goes into the general fund for our streets. That total revenue that I've added up comes to $113,000 just in the general fund. And I haven't even talked about, per year, I haven't even talked about the enterprise fund. The enterprise fund is every user of the house, on the average, is about $140 per household. 85 lots times $140 comes to $12,300.
Each month.
Each month. Per year, that comes out to $147,000 additional revenue into your enterprise fund that'll help us retire that debt that much sooner. Okay. The general fund impact fees, one time. Caravonk says it's a one time. That'll generate $771,000 one time for the thing. And we can use that for library impact fees of $170,000 to build things, park development, public safety to buy our police cars and fire engines, $131,000, and traffic impact fees of $145,000 to pave our streets over and above the cast. That's one time. In the impact fees of the enterprise, it's $1,087,000. $641,000 in sewer and the water, and $445,000 into the sewer. That's what this represents. The annual debt service to our COP, and we've gone through this earlier, as we owe $7-8 million to that, and everything, and the annual debt service is about $773,000. It currently the unpaid work from Payvex, we've been paying that $7,031 every month, and that comes to $92,000 a year. And we probably have about another 3 to 3.5 years to retire that debt. Those extra revenues could retire that debt that much sooner. The current interest rate is 4.4%. It's going to go to 6.5. The remaining debt period is 29 more years. If we don't get enough users coming in, this council has got to be faced with raising the rates to meet that debt limit. And that's something that we don't want to do. New users will help stabilize the rate. Additional revenue could also be accumulated to perform periodical upgrades to the sewer collection system, the water distribution system, new fire hydrants to keep our rating 5, water and well improvements, and wastewater treatment plant improvements. So all of that can materialize with these impact fees, as well as new user fees. The addition of the 85 lots and the homes that create the assessed valuation of the ad valorem tax rate, not only the city of San Juan benefits, but we've got the Aroma San Juan district. Their impact fees are $2.97 per square foot. On the average, a home pays for about $6,000. Plus, they get 58% of the tax dollar that comes out of the pie. The state fire district that pays for the San Benito County fire contract, that comes out of that. San Benito County General Fund, they get 19%. Gavilan Junior College, the San Benito County Water District Zone 6, San Benito County Water District Administration, San Juan Cemetery, San Benito County Hospital District, San Benito County Board of Education taxes areas 1, 2, and 3, and the San Benito County Equalized Aid. All of them participate in that pie. And the San Juan only gets 3.2%, but that pie is divided up to all these other taxing districts. So when we say that R1 does not pay for itself, I'm saying is that you have to look at the big picture in San Juan Bautista, because we're much more efficient than the bigger cities up in the Bay Area.
This was viewable for everybody?
Yes, yes.
And I hope everybody got a chance to look through it. There was a lot of information covered extensively on it. So I'll bring it back to any questions from the council.
And I think the applicant is in the field, the audience, and you might want to have him come and
would you like to come
make
up?
the final payments.
Good evening, Bob Fulton with the Rancho Vista project, and council members, staff, thank you for your time tonight. Congratulations to the new council members, and my condolences to your family if they expect to see much of it in 4 years. Very time consuming, as I'm sure you're aware, and thanks for your efforts. This neighborhood that we're trying to create, this is the next step as we are trying to get to a final design, final approval for a neighborhood that we expect to be worthy of San Juan Bautista and look like San Juan Bautista and be a part of the community. Through all of the general plan update meetings that I attended and listened to, and people I talked to, it was very important. It was brought up numerous times how challenging it is, the 156 intersection. And to put housing on the other side of it just means you're going to have kids and families that are going to need to cross to get over to this side. Which was not a great idea. It was frequently brought up that the best place for housing is out of the floodplains, away from the highway, not having to cross the street, and in an area that it didn't impact as much. And that's what Rancho Vista is. It's not in floodplain, it's not prime agricultural land. You do not have to cross the highway to get to downtown San Juan Bautista. So we spent a lot of time. We've been to a number of meetings. As most of you are aware, we've been through the Planning Commission a few times due to some hiccups on noticing and a few other things. But it's a neighborhood that has had a lot of visibility, and most of you know quite a bit about. Tonight is one more step getting us to the point where we're going to actually get soon to be able to put a neighborhood up on the board and talk about it and create what we think will be a great addition to the town. So thank you for your time. Anything I can answer, I'd be glad to. I have an attorney with me that would be glad to answer anything if you have a technical question. Hopefully not, but thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Bring it back to
Did
council.
You want to start, or shall I? Yeah, I'll start with a couple things. Number one, all this reference to South San Juan, I don't know where that came from in the 1995 general plan, and it was discussed, and there were meetings at the community center and everything, and nobody could decide what was the best thing to put in South San Juan. And it never came up to how many children were going to have to cross that highway to get to school. The high school at one time was proposed on the old cement plant property, and they determined that that wasn't a good idea. And then going back, the one thing that really sticks with some of these comments is the growth control. I can't remember what year it was, but the City Council of San Juan Bautista imposed a 1% growth control ordinance. And I told them at that time that that wasn't legal. That was not going to fly. Well, they imposed it, but that meant you could build 8 houses a year in San Juan. And I know that's been well over 10 years ago. So even at 1% growth, that's 80-some homes. The state and everybody else told San Juan Bautista that no, you can't have a 1% growth control ordinance. It has to be 3%. We changed it, so we were eligible for community block grants. Up until that time, with a 1% growth, they just said, no, you can't have a grant. Now, I'm trying to figure out where these 29% growth rate and all this other stuff. And one of the things that even with the 1%, it was accumulative. If you didn't build 8 houses in 1985 or whenever that came in, I can't remember, you carried it over to the next year. Maybe you built 4 houses that year, then the next year you were, or the city would allow you to build 12 homes. So it piled up. And I would say over the years, you know, it's ridiculous how many homes. In fact, I saw it somewhere, the 1995 general plan projected a population of 3,000 people by the year 2015. Okay? That's, numbers might be a little bit off, but about 1,200 more people than we have now. And you're going to add...
It's 1,100.
What? You're going to add how many people here? Say 2.5 per...
3.2.
3.2. So you're going to add what?
About 250?
Yeah, the average density varies between 3.2 and 3.5 persons
So you're
per
going to add
household.
what? Between this and the D'Ambrosio project, you're going to add
300?
400 people?
At the most.
So we're not even at the population that the people that did the 1995 general plan projected.
I think that was 99.
98.
Was it 90?
98.
98.
98, I'm sorry. So My feeling is, it looks to me like a good subdivision, a good development. I only have one concern, and that is the intersection of Donner and Third, and I can't read the name of the street coming out of the subdivision.
That is Third.
This one here?
That's Third Street.
Oh, that is Third?
Yes.
Okay. And that intersection, and I thought one time there was talk about a roundabout there?
Yeah.
That is a possibility of controlling something there. And then in the future, I don't know, there might be other ways to get out of that subdivision. But I maybe these people that are clustered down here around Third Street would be coming out that way, but I would presume that the rest of them are going to go out onto First Street. And anyways, I'm in favor of the development. I guess you can tell that from my comments.
Me? Well, I think residential development belongs there. I think this is a great study in how many lots can you shove into one area, you know? And that, if I was a developer, that would be my lead card. We are supporting the EIR, and we are supporting changing the urban growth boundaries. We are not talking at this time about what we're going to put in there, what it's going to look like. And I want that real clear, because I support the EIR, and I support the change in urban growth growth area, because I think residential belongs up there, and so I'd support it. But nice opening, Savo.
I was going to say the same thing that Jim just said. We're not approving or turning down this subdivision. You know, my initial thought when I first heard about this project is pretty much the same as everybody else. I don't want to go into the valley. I don't want to put homes in the valley. But then you find out that the land here is not prime ag land. So what do? You turn down a project and make somebody keep land that is not agriculturally productive simply because you don't want homes out there. You know, what else are they going to do with the land? You know, they're not going to do row crops. It's not going to work. So that's causing somebody an economic hardship. Looking at the project as it looks right now, there's a lot of things I'd like to change with it. But again, it's not coming before us tonight. What is just the machinery that we need to pass in order to allow this to move forward if it's going to be approved.
Yeah. All right. Let's bring it back to the council for...
I have...
Go ahead.
He passed. He didn't...
I think I have a variety of questions. Depending on the answer to the first one, there may be a whole bunch or not so many. But I think I have a question for the attorney. If we approve this, if we adopt this resolution, what does that mean about this document? Are we able to go back and change this document, or are we accepting it as this is where we are? Because I have reservations about some of the contents of this document.
You're accepting this document, and then when they go to build the project, they're going to have to build the project or propose it that's going to be within the restraints of that document.
Okay.
So it won't necessarily be exactly as described in that document, but it will have to have every impact and every part of the project that they come forward with will have to be addressed in that document.
At a minimum, or are we limiting ourselves by adopting it today if we have reservations about content here? And I'll give you a specific example if that helps.
Sure. Okay.
I think the traffic study and the impact on 3rd Street is very unrealistic, and I think that we need to, I am comfortable voting on this tonight if we have the ability, if this doesn't bar us from making additional mitigating circumstances or changes or requirements on the project.
You're going to be accepting that traffic study as accurate tonight.
Okay.
So that will be the traffic study used when the project comes before you and is built. That will be the traffic study.
Okay.
Did you feel that was a high traffic area or low?
I think that
Or you
there's
think it
going
was
to
too
be,
much?
I think that, I'll give you an example. We all go to the post office for our mail. They have virtually no impact on the traffic study on 3rd Street leaving the development, and I think that that's absurd. I think that you're going to have a tremendous amount of traffic going down 3rd Street to get into town. Between Donner and Monterey Street, there are no sidewalks, contiguous sidewalks on both sides of the street. Obviously, the street is very, very narrow for that 1 block section, and it concerns me that and I don't know, this is all new for me, obviously, so I'm not sure if those are appropriate discussions to be having at this point and if it affects how we address this project in the future. But I have very serious reservations about that going forward, the traffic.
If I could ask maybe Bob Fulton's consultant, Michael, to come up here and everything. It's a question that I would have is that this EIR is approved is for the urban growth boundaries and the land use designations.
Got it.
And can that document be changed and added and augmented to reflect additional studies or additional amendments? And I think that's the question that I have for Mike in there. He's our expert on thing there. Is that during the course?
You're kinder probably than that I deserve.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Council, for your election. And I concur with your attorney. There is a caveat that Roger is speaking to, and that is if you want to add a mitigation measure, because of the way a mitigated negative declaration is put together, and the idea is that as described, it self-mitigates. You build the mitigation measures actually into the project description, and then you circulate that for public review. And what the legislature was finding out is that if a good idea for 3rd Street or whatever came up, and the developer was willing to do it, the consequence is that you had to stop, redo the document, recirculate it, and it was sort of no good deed shall go unpunished. And so the legislature changed the mitigated neg deck to say if a good idea comes up and the developer is willing to abide by that condition of approval as part of the approvals, then you don't have to recirculate the document, and the document can be amended with that additional mitigation measure. So if you, along your journey, find that you'd like to see a mitigation measure added, and the analysis that you have supports it, because everything you do has to be based on substantial evidence, then you add it as a condition of approval. Because all mitigation measures ultimately grow up to be conditions of approval, right? Mitigation measures are just an idea, and then when you give an entitlement, they become conditions of approval. So if you like something as a mitigation measure, and the developer supports it, and your evidence supports it, it becomes a condition of approval on, fill in the blank, either the zoning, the map, it could become part of the development agreement that you're going to consider, etc.
Okay, that's if he goes along with it.
If you have substantial evidence that supports it, you're going to impose it. Okay. He doesn't have to go along with it. If it's something that you don't have substantial evidence to support, but it's a good idea and he wants to help, then you need his concurrence, like anything. If I don't owe you, it's a gift, you need my concurrence. If I owe you, I owe you.
Okay.
You don't need my concurrence.
Thank
Does
you.
that make sense?
So the CIR was at the max of if all 85 homes went in then?
No, it was done on a scale of 98.
98?
Yes, so it's actually, CEQA originally proposed it was a more dense project, and CEQA requires that, very much as your city attorney said, that you're going to take a look at the worst case scenario, and then you're going to fashion your approval to be the one the community supports. But just so the yardstick that you're building and approving tonight, and I think all the council members have recognized this, all you're doing is approving the yardstick. not that you're going to approve the project or that you're going to approve it as described in the yardstick, because the yardstick says 98 homes, and already the proposal is 85. And so the proposal is already less impacting on the community than assumed in the mitigated neg deck.
Okay.
So but you'll have every opportunity to say with that yardstick, I want it to be different. I would like to see a mitigation measure added, that kind of thing.
And we're not limiting ourselves in terms of this map. We're not committing in any way to this layout particularly.
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's sort of chicken and egg stuff, right?
Right.
To do the worst case scenario, you have to show me what it looks like, and then everybody thinks that's what you're approving, and you're not. That's just saying this document analyzes this picture. It doesn't say you have to approve this picture.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm asking, because that's a lot of the, I think a lot of the, I shouldn't say a lot of the concern, but some of the concern people have is that they, you know, the process is not that clear.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people that are looking at this saying, it's done, we're done tonight, where it's over.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's a very counterintuitive thing that CEQA makes you do, and that is it's assuming the worst thing with its building of the yardstick. It doesn't make itself clear that you don't have to approve that. In fact, you can deny the project after certifying the environmental work.
The large unassigned parcel in the middle of the project, what is that? The corner of Street A and 3rd Street.
No, that was
Yeah, of course.
That was a
It will be an open area.
open space reserve. That was wetlands. Yeah.
Okay. That, it was not clear. The smaller section closer to 129 is designated as detention open space, but there's no flag on that. It just was a question. The parcel number doesn't appear to be correct.
Probably isn't. Roger, do we even have a parcel number yet?
No, there was a mix-up where they had put a parcel number that was on the county, and we have that corrected as it's 002 22006.
Right.
That was when it was a 90-acre parcel.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify.
And just to kind of give you a background and everything, the D'Ambrosio project was conditioned upon a roundabout at the corner of 3rd and there, and that we have been working tentatively on conditions of approval where this subdivision will pay its fair share into making that. Yeah.
That's understood.
Yeah.
Wastewater, the wastewater plant, and this may not be the appropriate time, but I think, Tony, when they're talking about the percentage of growth, they're clearly not talking about the population. They're talking about the number of housing units. And so with at approximately 550 housing units in the city today,
we give 5.5.
It represents a pretty significant increase. And then I think the community is also looking at, you know, the other projects that are potentially on the books. And I look at that and I begin to be worried about the wastewater plant and our capacity there. Well, Matt, I think that this project will take us to over 70% capacity, and that the state requires us to then have a plan in place if we reach 80%. And if we get a few more of these projects on the books, we're looking at a pretty big bill.
And
we need to be thinking about that as well.
And no, we're fully aware of that.
Yeah.
And we have drafted plans for the expansion of that, and we're working on that with Bracewell Engineering.
Right.
Yeah, that goes hand in hand with any development.
Okay.
And that's why we've developed also the sewer and water impact fees that will support that.
Right. Okay. Well, I was going to say I attended all of the draft general plan meetings myself. and was involved in that process as part of the strategic plan committee. And that there was, I felt, a tremendous amount of community input. And one of the reasons I'm comfortable with this process, or the change in the urban growth boundaries and the zoning change, is that that was very clearly brought forward in multiple meetings during that process, and it did not, it carried through and was met with the approval of the audience, the group that was involved in that. So, and that is in theory going into effect next year, so I don't think we're jumping the gun too much.
I wouldn't be here tonight if I wasn't under the same conclusion at those meetings.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anybody else? All right. Roger, how many permits have we issued in the last?
Oh, forgive me, I'm sorry. I do have one more. We didn't talk about the comments from the Central Coast Water Board and their suggested changes. Is that something that you guys have considered?
Yeah, those are things that we've cranked into our conditions and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. As well as the Caltrans, their comments too.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I was more concerned about the water.
Mm-hmm.
The water board, is it? Okay, thank you.
All right.
How many permits have we issued? When I came on board in July of 2011, we've issued 4 new permits and 1 remodeling.
In the last 3 years.
2011, yeah.
Okay, well.
Prior to that, I think there hasn't been the recession and everything. We look back and there was not a new building permit issued since 2002, I believe, to 2011.
I don't know if I need to correct you, but it's 5 new permits.
Yeah, but that one was a remodel, 4 new ones and a remodel, because the Autoboni was one that was there, we tore down, and then we're building 2 back. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, I'll bring you back.
And incidentally, the last paragraph of my staff report is that last year the City Council adopted a resolution approving the impact fees, and that was based on a growth rate of 1.5%, and we zeroed in on 7.8 homes per year, roughly 8 homes per year, and that would justify a sustainable rate of growth over the period of years to justify the expansion and stuff like that. And the analysis that I did there is that the area that was in the 1998 general plan, that's south of the 156, has the Autoboni property. Portion of it is medium density, high density, low density, as well as an area south of the Mission Vineyard Road. And we did the analysis of the acreage. High density is anywhere from 10 to 20 units per acre. Medium density is from 6 to 12, and low density is anywhere from 2 to 6. We analyzed it as the maximum, and it could be 258 homes south of 156. Representing a population of 806.
Roger, where is this plan with regard to the Planning Commission? Are they all done with it now?
No. This is the next step. Is once that the urban growth boundaries are changed and the land use is designated as an R1, now they can come back to the Planning Commission with all of their presentations and the tentative map and open space, and so it's now at the next step where it gets involved, where the Planning Commission can really tear it apart and look at it and analyze it.
But if they approve it at some point and nobody appeals it, we never get to have any say in the project, right?
It's got to come back to us for a final
map. Yeah. The City Council gets the final map. And in addition to that is the applicant is requesting down the line when they do is a development agreement. And the Planning Commission will review that development agreement. They will make a recommendation and you will come and get that development agreement.
So we'll actually approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll have the final say.
All right.
Anything more? Okay, does anybody would like to make a motion?
That's a lot of reading. I'll make the motion. Resolution number 2014, what?
50.
50?
Yeah,
I think it's 51.
Okay. A resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting the initial study, mitigated negative declaration, and mitigation monitoring program for the Rancho Vista subdivision project consisting of 28.35 acres at the north end of the city on the west side of San Juan Highway, identified as Assessor's Parcel Number, and I guess this is not correct, is that what you said, 002?
That is correct.
This is
Okay,
the correct one. Yeah.
the number 002-220-006.
A second.
Seconds. Roll call vote, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Mayor Lund,
Aye.
all members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
All right, moving along to item I. Consider adopting Resolution 2014-51. Connie? Will that be 51?
Comments?
No, on item I for the resolution, will that be? Yeah, okay. 51, amending the general plan and changing the urban growth boundary and land use designation from agriculture to low-density residential for 28.3 acres of land lying north of Creek Bridge subdivision and westerly of San Juan Highway. The purpose of the amendment is for consideration of an application for the Rancho Vista subdivision project, APN 002-220-006. Okay, bring it up for public comment.
I won't repeat my comments, but I just want to make clear that the Planning Commission approves the tentative map, and then the final has to conform to the tentative. So most of the action will happen at the Planning Commission stage. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Jolene, Copio.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay. Pass. Okay, so nobody else? I'll close public comment, bring it back to the council.
I have nothing, thank you.
Tony?
This just identifies the property, right, that we did the first time.
Great. Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion for that one?
I read the last one.
I'd like
the guy
to,
next to you.
I'd like to introduce, I'm presuming you're asking for motion.
Oh, yeah.
A resolution of the City Council to the City of San Juan Bautista, amending the urban growth boundary and land use designations of the 1998 general plan of 28.3 acres at the north end of the city on the west side of the San Juan Highway, identified as Assessor's Parcel Number 002-220-006.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Get a roll call vote?
Councilmember West,
Aye.
Councilmember Clark,
Aye.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Mayor Lund,
Aye.
all members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Councilman Bach got a laugh on me.
You need a break?
Yes, we do. Yes,
Okay.
I do. The over 55 break.
One of our newest council members would like
Yeah.
to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
Walk off of that thing. It's usually the chair, the vice chair, and the past chair. You know, when I moved over here, I'd like to be disconnected and Russ to eliminate the call. Maggie was here. And when she got off the counter, she moved me over here. I don't care. I was just saying. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'd much rather see that disconnection. I don't think it matters. Pardon? I don't think it matters. I don't think so either. If I ever have to chair the meeting, Robert's not here, I'll take care of it. Yeah. No, it matters not, and I just... I looked at that thing. It's going to take so long to go.
Put in a Tesla charging station.
Okay, I'd like to call the city council back. And we'll move on to, actually, what I'd like to do is, if anybody opposed, I'd have Chief O'Connor come up and give his report that we passed over.
Wait till the end of the
Yeah.
I know, that's what,
You do that after we leave.
you know. Usually we have,
Hey, you're late, you get to the back of the line.
Basically, I just been back out 2 weeks, so I'm still trying to get through my emails and all the documents that are piled up on my desk. But everything seems to be flowing pretty good during the time of my absence. The deputy chief, Alvarez, took over and continued to run the department, and all the SOPs and standards that were being observed, so things flowed pretty good. I don't know, have anything to really say on that. You guys ran about 18 calls last month, application 4 here. Going pretty good.
almost an all-time low.
Your questions, I definitely will entertain.
You're really pulling the pin in January?
I put in for my retirement. I don't have a date, solid date yet. So, and let's see what else. I did a meeting with the Board of Supervisors today. I gave them the end of year report. I will bring that PowerPoint to you guys if you want to see it, and give you an idea of where the department was a year ago, or 18 months ago, and now where it is in staffing.
I'd like to see that.
I
probably
would very much like to see it.
Okay.
Probably have that next fire.
Yeah,
fire
and I can do that at the fire committee,
And we can bring it back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Now we don't have to watch it.
The 8th of January.
Yeah, because the first on a Tuesday?
No, it's on a Thursday.
It's on a Thursday.
It's the second Thursday.
That's the 8th.
Yeah, it's the 8th.
Okay.
8:30. Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
No problem. Stay dry and Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you.
Question, any feedback on the car fire we had here? Were there more than
Somewhere
one
by
in town? Next to Harvey's
Well,
lockup?
for the city.
For the city, you mean
For the city.
one?
Wasn't it? Where
Next
was it
to
at, Chris?
Harvey's lockup.
That's
Lockup.
at the camper, is it?
No, John, can you pinpoint that location?
Oh, the
second in church, it was a silver Mercedes.
The Mercedes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mercedes.
Thank you.
To my knowledge, it was in the passenger compartment, if I recall the report.
Yeah.
I do not know if there was a cause for that fire yet determined. I know SO was investigating some of it. I know that I saw a lot of comments on
Yeah.
Social media?
Facebook, social media that said that there was quick response, the firemen were there, really quick, and they were pleased with their professionalism. That's kind of what they saw.
The comments also talked about being suspicious, and
Okay.
be curious to hear.
I will look into what additional reports there is on it.
Thank you.
Okay? Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that one.
Okay.
We have had a few car fires in there. So.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That should do it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Happy holidays to you,
Happy
Mike.
holidays. Welcome back. If we have somebody in the audience on for the next part of the agenda, 7, item F, if we can move that up.
Sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm introducing us. I'm Shauna Friels. I'm the vice chair of your strategic plan committee. This is John Freeman.
And I'm the chairman, and congratulations on your new positions.
Oh, thank you.
So what we are presenting to you tonight, part of our charge is to go through the draft city general plan 2035 version, and there's some programs that are set aside in there. The back of it is actually your strategic plan element of the draft plan. So what we've been doing is we've been compartmentalizing them into subcommittees, and the subcommittee I chair is Government and Communications. And one of the first pieces, I think it was Plan Element Program PF 7.1.1.1, speaks to developing a youth commission for the city of San Juan Bautista. And so that was one of the programs we thought would be fairly easy for us to start with. And so what we did is we did research. Several of our members are here in the room with us still tonight. And so we researched several different cities, city of Salinas, the city of Gilbert where I work, and then several Bay Area cities to kind of find models to formulate this commission from. So what you have in your packet tonight is sort of a kind of the best practices of what we've seen in other communities. Most of them have had youth commissions for 15, 20 years. The goal of a youth commission is to really share with you, the city council, what are the youth of San Juan Bautista looking for? How can you involve them more in their own community? And as you all know, San Juan doesn't have a lot of, or any recreation programs really. The library is pretty much it, or soccer. So this youth commission now we are presenting to you tonight. We wanted to have kids that are kind of junior high age, that 12-year-old junior high up to high school seniors. And the idea behind that is you have a well-represented commission that would kind of help look at younger youth, what they're looking for in the community, and then older kids. This is a leadership opportunity for the youth of our community. And so what we presented to you tonight is a draft ordinance for you to consider. Sets out the kind of the programs that they would be focusing on. The goal would be to communicate to the community and communicate back to you as a city council. What do they see are the needs of the community for you? They hold forums, several of the commissions that we modeled this after hold forums for youth. And what do you want to see? Do you want to see more recreation during the summer? Those types of things. They put on all sorts of different events. We put that in your staff report as well. Just several different types of events that they do. Dances for kids. Because San Juan Bautista is so diverse as far as kids, homeschool kids that go to Anzar, maybe they go to Watsonville High School, maybe they go to Hollister High School. This is an opportunity for all those San Juan kids to kind of interact. So again, the youth commission would be comprised of 11 members is what we're recommending. We modeled it after Gilroy, really. And what we saw, most of them are kind of small. I think Salinas was 22. Yeah, so we kind of made it a little bit smaller than that. Again, we've got a model ordinance here for you tonight. That's really the goal of the commission, is to kind of be your eyes and ears of the youth of San Juan Bautista. They also would be tasked with bringing to you ideas on maybe legislation or policy that might affect them. And as an example, in Gilroy, the city of Gilroy just passed an ordinance that has to do with tobacco retail, and how tobacco retailers and how licensing have to go in Gilroy to keep them from selling tobacco to kids. And so our youth commission gave input on that whole policy process and that policy decision. So something else we thought was really important is that this commission actually be comprised of kids throughout the school district, not just the city 1 mile square city limits, because I grew up in Mission Vineyard. I was from San Juan, and there's kids up the canyon that are San Juan. There's kids in San Juan Valley or Anzar Hills. They're San Juan, and so we really thought if they live within the city, or in the school district boundaries, then they should be able to apply for this commission. And we also recognize that an adult, you need some adult supervision. So our recommendation in your ordinance is to have one council member sit on that commission, ex parte, really kind of not really getting too involved. They would be there more or less as adult supervision to be that liaison between the commission and the city council. And then we also felt that another adult should be there to kind of help them through the process, to work between the city and the commission and yourselves. So if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them.
About what kind of population of kids in that category? Do we have an estimate?
How many kids in the school district?
Well, pretty much that will be a part of that. Well, yeah, as I guess I would say, because you said you also have homeschooled kids.
Right, so the idea is to have kids from who just have to live within the jurisdictional boundaries of the school district. They don't have to attend our schools.
Okay, so do we have like an estimate about how many kids it could be?
I think Anzar High has about 500 people in it. You know, I'm going to take this time to add that I did talk to Dr. Ruben Zepeda, who's the superintendent of the entire school district, Roma San Juan School District, and he's very much in favor of this.
Yeah, I sat with them at the business council meetings. He comes to those.
Where would you have the meetings?
So that's in here, actually, we've drafted up some draft bylaws for them. Their bylaws kind of spell out what are the powers and duties? Well, you'll have a secretary, you'll have a treasurer, because you're going to fundraise, a chair and a vice chair. And so we thought because of the size of the group, there's no way they could fit here and have it be a public meeting. This is a commission, so it would have to be a brown-out public meeting. So we suggested they meet in the community center. And that also would help them because that's likely the facility they would use for whatever programming they suggest to put on, be it a dance or in Gilroy they do Kids Discover Art. Our youth commission actually runs Kids Discover Art with the help of some of our recreation staff. What that is they go out and they get donations from all sorts of craft stores and they show kids how to put together different types of art projects once a year. So to answer your question, the community center is our recommendation.
Okay.
Something else to add, Jennifer
Colby.
Jennifer Colby is, I think she's the president of the.
She is the president of the school board.
Yeah, she presented this to her board and they're very excited. And she presented it to their Senate, student Senate, I think as well, and they were very,
What's the cost of something like this to the city?
So.
It's a loaded question because you've got people that are not living in the city benefiting from this.
Well, it's to make the community, to make that group a lot larger. That's
Well, we spend money on people who don't, you spend city money on people who don't live in the city. You have to look at that.
Shauna?
That's a good question.
So may I?
Absolutely.
So this came out of the Strategic Plan Committee. The Strategic Plan Committee has not cost anything. There's been no allocation, no dollars. And I don't think there's anything in here that would be a direct cost to the city, correct?
They're volunteers, the kids are volunteers.
And so they wouldn't be renting the community
No,
center? Oh,
it's a
okay.
city-owned facility. One of the purposes would be for recreational type,
Okay.
like it used to be. Oh, and so we also thought, we have two committees, one that's youth, and Jennifer Colby chairs that, the subcommittee of the Strategic Plan Committee, and then our group, Government Communications, we would like to kind of facilitate the interview process and to present you with, we've got 50 applicants, we recommend these, 11. Not that would prohibit you from interviewing them yourselves, but it would certainly lessen that burden.
Streamline.
Okay. Sounds like a great opportunity.
I guess the next step is for you to gather up these, I don't want to call them kids, young adults, and establish your committee, or the committee, not yours, but the committee.
No, I think
So the idea, so
We
what
need-
we're providing you with is the enacted ordinance to actually
Right.
establish the commission, not a committee. And then we have bylaws for them to kind of get them started. The bylaws have to be approved by you as city council, so if they choose to amend them, they have to make that recommendation at their commission meeting and then present it to you as a council for your approval. And then we also included in here kind of a draft application of what we would think would be necessary for them to be interviewed. They have to answer these questions. And then I think we have a little recruitment flyer then, so that we kind of modeled that for somebody.
That's
But
great.
I think that was really all that was necessary to kind of get it started. We do need to find that adult supervision too, that adult liaison stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably another part of our recruitment efforts.
I guess my real question was, how are you going to round up the 11?
Oh, not a
I mean,
problem.
oh,
Not a
there,
problem.
no, really?
Jennifer's already presented it to the student body over there, or I think the student senate, and they are just so excited about this.
Oh,
And
okay.
so she plans to be our liaison to do that for us, to actually present it to the school board, the school district, and get the word out and start the recruitment.
and particularly for students who plan on going to college or higher, they have to put on their resume or application community service. And this would definitely qualify as that.
Oh, okay.
And so it's going to be, there's going to be competition for those 11 spots.
I'll tell you, in Gilroy, this is the commission that's most sought after. We had 6 seats open, and I had 23 applicants just recently in Gilroy. And those kids interview better than any adult I've ever seen. I mean, truly, they do. They know they're planning for their future, and they want to be leaders, and they want to move on and go on to college, and this helps them get that.
Did you want us to take action on this ordinance tonight? Because
I don't know that you can. I don't know the way that it's been
I-
agendized.
yeah,
I don't think that's
it hasn't
appropriate.
been agendized, and we have to submit it to legal counsel to have it reviewed.
Oh, I thought it already been done. Okay. Yeah.
Our legal counsel.
Right, we assumed that that had already taken place, but if it hasn't, that's fine. I mean, we certainly, we modeled it after the planning commission's ordinance and then another youth commission's ordinance. So it'd have to be introduced at your, I guess, your next meeting.
Okay.
But once introduced, we're hoping that you let us start the recruitment efforts at that point.
Oh, yes.
Right. Okay.
And then we can have it ready for the next
Yeah.
city council meeting.
And congratulations to people who work with children.
Thank you.
And while we're up here, a real quick report on personnel issues of the committee. We've had a member resign, Bob Reed, and then additions to inspections have to go through you, the city council. And so right now, we're looking for a replacement and possibly 2 or 3 more. We think the committee could be a little better if it got bigger, a little bigger.
I think we had some people that we were going to talk to about for those positions.
Okay, fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
At this point, you could perform a quick test to see if we can get rid of that buzzing. I'm not sure if you guys hear it there, but it's certainly out there.
No, I don't hear nothing. You hear
Hold
something?
on to your breath.
I'll wear foil next time.
That was an easy test.
Is that what the feedback was on that recorder?
I think Jim knows to real good candidate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's that?
I can tell he really likes it.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like
And he can play Santa Claus, too.
Want to hear my WC feels?
Okay, how'd the test go?
Did you pass? Oh, good.
All right. We'll go back
My
up to the
wife
top of the
smacks
list.
me when I say things like
Oh,
that.
good.
We'll go back up to the top of the list to item A. Approve resolution 2014-52, accepting the fiscal year 2014 audit. We don't get a public comment on that one, huh? We don't do any public comment on
That's
that
what I
one.
was wondering. Public hearing? or public-
Technically, every item is public comment, so you should ask for public comment on these.
Okay. Any comment from the public for our 2014 accepting the audit? Okay, I'll bring it back to council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Does he have to read the resolution?
Damn right, we had to.
Good, Rick, you gotta.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista accepting the San Juan Bautista Municipal Audit for fiscal year 2013-2014.
Second.
Which one got it?
He did.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Aye.
Mayor Lund,
Aye.
all members of council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, we'll move to item B. Approve resolution 2014-53, establishing compensation for the office of city clerk.
Yeah, and as you recall, this is in the municipal code, is $100 per month for the city clerk, Linda, because she was an employee of hers. She never did take it, inspect it and everything. Connie's coming there and would like to compensate her for her time.
Okay. Anything from the public? Any comment? Okay, I'll bring you back to council. Anybody would like to?
I'd like to introduce a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista establishing the compensation for the office of clerk and city treasurer. Let's see, treasurer is $1 per year and $100. Connie's
Those are the
$100.
former. Those are the former.
Oh, this is the former. Okay, compensation for the city clerk is established at $100 per month. Compensation for the city treasurer is established at $100 per month. And resolution 2008-50 is hereby rescinded.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Edge?
Aye.
Councilmember Marshall?
Aye.
Mayor Lynn?
Aye.
All members of the council in person and the city government passes unanimously.
Okay, item C, consider a proposal for a water rate study performed by Bartle Wells Associate.
Again, this goes back to the 2008 COP loan, and that was done with a rate analysis that substantiated the rates to support borrowing the money. Wells Fargo is the administrator of our 2008 COP $11 million, and they wouldn't approve it unless the study was done and the council adopted those rates to support payment for the repaying the bonds debts. It's only good for 5 years. We've been applying a consumer price index for the last 5 years, and that becomes due at January 1st of 2015. So we can not do a rate analysis, and then we'd be frozen for our rates for the next 5 years and come back to those. We have been issued building permits, and we've approved about $51,000 into the sewer and water account. Each building permit pays $7,550 of water and $5,240 of sewer, total of about $12,600. And we've issued the permits, and there's about $51,120 into that now. And I would say that if you chose to use Bartow for the mailer to satisfy the 218 process and the $9,000 rate adjustment, $300 is really not necessary. That would be a total of $14,000 that it should be funded out of the sewer and water impact fees and not out of the general fund.
Would this help us with our renegotiation of the loan too?
Yes.
Where we show them what,
Yes.
how we can pay it? Yeah.
I should have pointed that out. It would really support, when we go back to the refinancing and try to get a better rate, is that we have the ability to meet that debt service.
Roger, the sewer rate now is just what we owe divided by the number of people in town, right? There's no relationship to the sewer charge and the water usage.
Well, we do an analysis and try to keep that there. That's what the rate study is going to do. This is right now for sewer, it's $74.31, and that's for a single family. Commercial and industrial is a little bit different, and apartments are a little bit different. So we try to base it on the amount of flow that we anticipate out of a typical house or apartment. The water rates are a function of metered because we have a full metered system. So and it's so much, there's a basic minimum of $44, but then over and above there you get into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3.
But there's still no relationship to the sewer charge.
Pretty much what comes in is what's going to go out with a minor
Yeah, but if you're out of, if you're out of town for a month, nothing comes in,
Nothing goes out.
but you still get charged the minimum.
Still get charged,
Yeah.
I think Elizabeth spoke earlier here, you know, she was talking about the little secondary units, and some of them have limited sanitary capacities, maybe one toilet, one bathtub, and one lavy, and where a typical house will have maybe 26 fixture units, a dishwasher, a washer, a sink, you know, a washing machine, you know, a washing basin, a toilet, maybe a toilet and a half. So the fixture units of a normal house is much higher than a little secondary unit. But yet, in the application of the rate study is they don't give you any differentiation. It's still a connection. So it's still, sewer is $74 for a secondary unit, same as for a 4-bedroom house.
Is that something that could be addressed in the rate study?
Yeah.
The potential for adjusting that?
Now, incidentally, we had that same problem in the commercial district, and I think some of the members were on the council, and we found that some of the renters that have a little antique shop, and they only have one closet, water closet, and one lavy, and that's all they have in there. They were being billed $74.31, and so we did a rate analysis, and we came up with a reduced rate for people that have limited sanitary facilities in their things. And so far, about 8 or 9 people have made the application. It requires me or Matt to go out and verify the amount of fixture units, and then we certify it as okay, and they qualify for the reduced. And it's helped some of the small merchants that have, because that was hurting some of them, where they had to pay not only the water but the sewer, and sometimes they only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know?
Kind of like that big house in
So
Franklin.
could we do the same thing with residential?
The rate analysis will give the direction to the local well, and they'll evaluate that.
Because that more or less answers your question.
Yeah, that's the one thing people ask me, is how come my sewer isn't somehow related to my water use? You know, and I says, I don't know.
Now, in Hollister, in commercial, your sewer rate is predicated on the amount of water you use.
But not residential.
But not residential, it's a flat fee. But in commercial, the more water you use, the higher your sewer rate. I found that out when I put artificial turf in. My water rate went down half, my sewer rate went down.
Thank you.
Okay.
So do you need a...
Well, hold on, I'll go to public. Anybody from the public have any comment? No?
You just about answered the question, Roger, because I was going to ask how many people actually applied for those suspensions, or I'm not sure quite what we called them, when the council approved reduced rates, but only for those units that really had limited facilities. We discussed, just for Jim and Chris, because you were on the council at the time, we discussed a lot about apartments as opposed to houses, and really I think the council came to the conclusion that you can't penalize somebody with 3 bathrooms when only one person's living in the home. And then it actually compares very well with an apartment. You would have to do so much studies to figure out that just because somebody's got 3 toilets, they're only flushing one of them. And so we came up with yes for the downtown units that didn't have washing machines, didn't have much of anything other than a sink and maybe a toilet, that we would reduce the rates for them. But putting flow meters on and doing all that kind of stuff to figure out how much water is actually going out and which sewer, it would be so cost prohibitive that we really have to come up with some sort of general thing, and it's all based on all this money that we borrow.
Well, we have like a water and discharge, you know, we know how much we're discharging into the sewer plant as opposed to how much water usage we have each day.
And then to answer that young lady that came up, she said that she's in real estate and she manages apartments, and they get a sewer bill for an apartment that's vacant or empty. I can't control that, because for us to say, oh, you're not going to get it, you'd have to go out there almost every day and find out, and that's almost unmanageable. So we have to just apply that to say, you got a 12-unit apartment, you're going to be paying 12 connections to that, you know, and that's what it is. And whether they're occupied or not, you know, we can't control that.
And wouldn't there be re-hookup fees if they did disconnect and then reconnect and all that, so?
Yeah, and then there's reconnection fees and stuff, you know. So it gets into a
Nightmare.
Well, I found it interesting that she brought that up, because I have a duplex, right? And there was a period of time when both units were empty, but I still got to bring a check up to Michelle every month. Right?
Because you don't ring Michelle, she
Well,
gets you what?
I mean, what am I going to do? Come up here and say, hey, my unit's empty. Oh, now it's occupied? Right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
How much is a connection fee to turn off and turn on?
$230. A reconnection is $30.
Well, 30 was cheaper than 100.
I never.
Well,
So-
we're certainly
Fortunately,
gonna
I
look
got
at-
both
you know,
documents.
That's the key to it is, we're not going to dismiss it, we're going to analyze it, and then with the rate analysis, we can maybe come up with something that can be worked.
So I don't pay any bills, my wife. I'm married, so I don't handle money anymore. And just kidding, she's not going to like that. Hopefully she's not watching.
Oh, she's watching.
She's watching.
It's awfully late.
And it'll be played again tomorrow morning.
But, so I don't pay the water bill, but my recollection is that we never go over the minimum. And I would suggest that it might make sense for us to look at additional tiers potentially. I know there have been people, we have a number of people that have come in and talked about the relatively high base rate, and so potentially we could create a lower base rate and more tiers that would penalize those that are using dramatically higher. Because frankly, at this point, I have, other than my goodwill, I don't have an incentive to use less water. So that just a thought.
That's something we can definitely tabletop.
Yeah. So your suggestion is that we should adopt, your recommendation, I should say,
I'm
is...
recommending that we adopt this resolution,
Okay.
Is it 53?
Yeah, 54.
Which would be a resolution of the City Council, San Juan Bautista awarding a contract to perform a water rate study to Barton and Wells Associates. And with that, I would also add is that the revenues would be taken from the enterprise account reserve fund.
I'd make that motion, because he said it.
Yeah, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martorell,
Aye.
Mayor Lund,
Aye.
all members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the member passes unanimously.
Yeah, because we need this study for, other than just analysis for home use.
Yeah.
We need to keep that in there.
Well, like Daisy's, not much water going in, but a lot going out.
Consider proposal to renew lease with AVAYA for telephone system in City Hall.
I think I'll let Trish, she's been working hard on this, and we analyzed our phone system, gone through a number of suppliers.
Yes, that's exactly right. Michelle mostly did the evaluation and checked into other companies to see if it was time to make a change on our phone system from Avaya to something else. It is a 5-year lease, so it was time to evaluate. And they really were going to offer us the best deal. One thing we found, we talked about what features we like in the phone. Well, what do you know? We have those features. We just had not been trained or learned how to use them.
I know the hold button works.
So we talked to the representative about that, and he said yes, he would be providing more extensive training on the system, but the phones and everything look basically the same. I don't think that there's one phone system we were looking at. You could put your smartphone, attach it to it, and it would transfer the messages and whatnot. Quite costly for something like that.
And this is a savings from our current.
This is a savings. We give it. It's required to go have a third-party lease for the equipment, and we were paying $94, I think, a month to City Financial Services, and they looked at that and said they would combine the whole thing and give us a savings on that. So it's a good deal. We found that this is a good deal. Recommend that you approve it for the next 5 years.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Anybody from the public would like to make comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to council.
Not after the smart aleck remark. Not after their remark either.
Okay, so anybody want to?
Move to pass a resolution to City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista renewing a lease agreement for a telephone system with Avaya.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Redd?
Aye.
And Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Aye.
Members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
Do we need a number for that one? 55? Okay. Adopt resolution changing signatures on city bank accounts and wire transfers. Roger? Roger? Or
Pretty much, there, Andy and Jolene are off as signatories, and so we need to make a decision to see who wants to be authorized signatures for the checks. From time to time, it becomes a problem, and I think we added myself and Charles on because sometimes the council are out of town. Right now, we have Chuck Geiger, myself, and Tony Bach are the signatures, so we would like to have 2 additional ones, so depending on your schedules.
Well, Mayor Lund seems like a good candidate.
Yeah, I pretty much work pretty close to town and stuff, so if there's any type of emergency, I can do that for you, and I think...
I'm around most of the time.
And then Jim?
Jim, yeah.
After 9 o'clock.
Well, I got that workload, you know. Well, God willing, to you.
Okay. Any public comment? You ran that. Okay, I'll bring it back to council. So get a motion for that?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2014-56. A resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing changes to the designated signers on the city's bank accounts at San Benito Bank. That should be Union Bank, shouldn't it?
And actually, I'm already in the system there.
Union Bank.
Oh, we did that one.
Lease agreement with telephone system.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. I think we were waiting for that.
Yeah.
Thought it'd been done.
It's late.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember, sorry, Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Councilmember Rich,
Aye.
Mayor Lynn.
Aye.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
Now, the two that were picked here, can we vote on that, or should we?
You can, yes, you can vote on it.
Because I'm voting for him, he's voting for me?
Right, it's not a financial issue.
Okay.
It's not.
So it doesn't create a conflict. Well, it doesn't create a conflict for them, because they're not getting.
Not yet.
as a result of it, so.
Don't worry, Robert, they never make a check out in your name.
Just need one. Okay, moving on to item G here. Consider petition for annexation. Dale Koch.
Yeah, members of the council and mayor, the previous action tonight on adjusting the urban growth boundaries for the 4 parcels, Dale Koch was one of those. He came in and would like to petition annexation. He's paid the application fee, and I did a kind of a chart in the last, and just to let you know the procedures of what anybody wants to come in before somebody can go to the planning commission and get zoning and start the activities. They start at the council level, and at this point here, you're going to say yes, we're going to allow them to annex, or no, we don't want to annex. And then based on an affirmative, then they'll matriculate through the planning process and go through. And if you say no, then they will have to wait and come back to another time. So the chart kind of, I just typed it up, kind of outlines it there and the steps that they'll have to go through. If you prove in the affirmative that you could annex it, you can provide service, then it'll be forwarded to the planning commission, and then it'll be looked at if it's in the urban growth boundaries. If they determine yes, then they'll make the sequel findings and proceed with pre-zoning, forward to the city council, adopt the annexation, or adopt the pre-zoning, and they get it approved, and off to the left where you go, and to the board of equalization.
So there's no resolution or
No,
anything?
This is strictly, yes, we'd like to annex this, no, we don't, then it'll come back to the planning commission, it'll come back to you as a resolution and an ordinance.
How big was that lot?
12.8.
Oh, yeah. Right on the corner, it's a nice place for it.
This is the old Becker residence.
Okay. Spent a lot of money digging trenches out there looking for an earthquake fault and never did find one.
Anything from the public? Anybody? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council and
All right. Move that we approve his petition.
yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just considering the petitions.
This is just to consider it. So there's no number, nothing.
You're not approving it, you're considering it.
Considering the petition.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Which then triggers it to go back to the planning
Right, to
commission.
start the process.
Okay.
And then we'll get final. Roll call vote.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Black,
Aye.
Councilmember Rich,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin.
Aye.
Aye.
Members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
All right, moving along. Consider request of city attorney that council appoint a 2-person council committee to discuss a representation matter with the city attorney.
So we just need a few minutes of your time to discuss personnel changes in our office, and it has nothing to do with finances or compensation or money, so no worries about that. But it will just be a one-time meeting of 2 council members, and then whatever you decide will go back to the city council for full consideration.
Okay.
When do you want to do this? When do you want to do this?
Or just appoint 2 council members for a short meeting.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. When did you want to have the meeting?
We can do it based on your schedule. We'll once the committee's established, we'll arrange a meeting here with you.
You think us two?
Huh?
Us two?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think you got to put senior council members on this.
Yeah, me and Tony will do it.
Yeah. You want no
good.
newbies.
Who's going to be it?
Sounds good.
So who's it, Tony and Robert?
Do we need to vote on that, or can we just, it's just for appointment for
Yeah,
two
you
people,
just
right?
appoint them.
You appointed us.
Yeah.
Cool. Point. Okay, we'll move on.
In the military, you never volunteer.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm volunteering now is because there's stuff coming up later. Item I, consider changes to strategic planning committee membership. Who wants to address on that? Chris?
I don't think they have anybody to propose unless someone's aware of something I'm not.
Did we ever remove Bob Reed after he requested to be removed? Because that was the first step, and then
No.
I think probably it'll be next month before we actually have any replacements to that.
Nobody else to.
There's no one been appointed in our rough board yet.
Yeah, so the first step,
Would be removal of Bob per his request.
yeah.
So
So that's the only thing that we'll do is we'll remove Bob, and then after our appointments, and they come back, and then we can start appointing new people.
Sure. So I move that we remove Bob Reed from the Strategic Plan Committee.
At his request.
At his request.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin.
Aye.
Members
Aye.
of the council being present, the motion is stated by the
All right, moving right along. Now you'll know why I volunteered. Discussion, new council members' appointments to the Planning Commission Historic Resources Board.
It's those two guys right there. I already got mine.
Mine's done.
You got yours.
Rick's got his.
Staff put this in the agenda, on the agenda just so that you would be aware. It doesn't have to be dealt with at this meeting.
I can do it.
Yeah, I think we're
It's in the next
prepared.
item.
What two seats left? That
Would have been
They-
Ernie Franco and
Yeah.
Wanda. Wanda.
Vandy Guibert,
Vanda.
Ernie Franco, and Pat Garrett.
No.
Well, you have
No.
to appoint him.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
you got to reappoint.
Now, there will be a meeting in January, that's before the next January. So it was appropriate for those two planning commissioners to just continue?
No, I can do it now if you want.
Yeah, we're ready
Yeah,
to go.
we're all ready.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
It's a new council.
Jim?
I'm going to appoint Ernie Franco. I talked with him, and he's willing to do it again. Pretty good.
My appointment will be Vandy Guibert.
And I appointed Pat Garrett.
All right.
Okay.
Good choices, they're all
Yes.
dedicated.
Well, he gave me a bunch
Yeah.
of static about it, but
Mayor's selection of representatives to boards and committees. Do I have a list of those?
right here.
Yeah, you're right in
On
your
the-
back there thing.
Oh, on the back.
Last page.
Never thought we got to that one, huh? My last page kind of fell out there. Why don't you give me yours?
What happened to your binder?
It fell out.
Make a mirror and can't choose according here.
Okay, wait. I got it. I got
Oh,
it.
you got it.
You got it?
Yes. Okay, we'll start at the top there. LAFCO. Rick, do you want to continue that?
Sure.
Okay. We had Jolene with AMBAG. Is there anybody who would like to take that?
I don't mind.
Barry,
Would Chris be interested in that?
Sure.
Okay. Next one comes up is COG, and Jim was saying he might be interested in that.
Yeah, you said you wanted to stay on that?
I'd like to stay on it.
You'd like to
Yeah.
stay on it? Would you?
I got 4 years invested in it.
Yeah, it takes that long to learn that stuff. And I'd like to be the, I'd like
You
to
wanna
be
be
the
the second?
alternative so I can
Okay.
get 4 years running
Yeah,
at
we'll
it.
put you at, at a secondary.
Thank you.
As the top two for Labco and Ambeg, I'll keep Tony and Rick as the alternates for that.
Which one's that?
For Labco and Ambeg. I'll keep those two. Yeah. WRA.
The hell is
Water
WRA?
Resource.
Agency.
WRASBC.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
I think Jim would.
Yeah. I know those guys.
Even though I never got to go. The next one after that, I was the secondary for the Water Resource Board, so I'll just stay on that one. West Nile virus, San Benito County. Jolene was on that one. Jolene, how? Huh?
Never met.
You never met.
Never got a call, never met.
You want to stay on it?
Believe you.
I'll take that one.
Why don't we cross that bridge? I'll be the alternative.
Okay. Integrated Waste Management, Local Task Force. Andy was on that.
That's another one that never had a meeting.
I'll take that one too. No. Do you want to take on that one? I'll put you.
Sure.
Move you up.
I think we could probably
I'll
live
move you
without
up
a
on that.
secondary.
Huh?
We could probably live without a secondary.
Okay. Monterey Bay Unified Air Pollution Control District Board. Alternates between
Hollister's
Hollister
got the
and.
position now, you know. So.
Is it coming to us this year?
No, I think
it's 2 years.
maybe Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, yeah.
Might be going to Santa Cruz? Okay. Yeah, right here is Hollister, then Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So we got a couple more. Was that for, so Santa Cruz will be next year and then it comes back to us the year after?
I think so. I have spoken to or emailed to the secretary over there, and she was a little confused too, and said that we would get the deciding from Jerry Johnson, the city clerk in Hollister.
Okay.
But this year, I don't think it's an issue that San Juan isn't in the loop this time.
Okay. Fire protection, there was two there.
I'd like to do that with you if you're the alternate.
On what?
Fire.
We have two.
To what?
We have two people that go to the fire meeting.
I'd like to go to that if that's possible.
Okay. I'd kind of like to remain on it.
You want to?
For that? Okay.
I ain't going if you don't go.
Since Chief O'Connor will be bringing us coffee and donuts now that he's back. It's at 8:30. Can you make that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was on Neighborhood Watch. I thought
Did
that
you
was
ever go to a
Jolene.
meeting?
Yeah, Jolene was
Yeah, I
was
went.
always at the meetings.
I'll take that.
Okay. Put Chris on that. Do we have do we need an alternate for
No.
that or no?
I
Thought we
would
had one.
suggest no.
Can I ask a question on the neighborhood watch that came up at the last meeting? And I think I know the answer, but since we have legal counsel here, these are publicly noticed meetings with an agenda. If we have more than 2 council members at those meetings, is it a problem?
I don't believe so. Under the Brown Act, there's an exception. If it's a publicly noticed meeting, then you can attend as long as you don't discuss
Anything
the
off the agenda.
city's agenda, the city's public
Yeah,
business.
It's not really, we don't really discuss city's agenda, but since it is a neighborhood watch, we do discuss sheriff things, and we have a contract with the sheriff's department. So I just wondered, and I thought, well, since it's a public meeting, and it's noticed and it has an agenda, wouldn't it just be like any?
Right, there's a Brown Act exception, but you're not supposed to be collaborating a decision then. If there's 3 of you there, then you shouldn't be discussing something that would ultimately come in front of the city council. So if it was like the election of the sheriff or something that, you know, that you'd have to make a decision
No,
on.
we don't really collaborate or discuss or make any decision. I mean,
Long
we
as
do
we-
discuss, but we don't make any decisions.
As long as we stick to the agenda there, then,
Pub-
and we don't veer off and discuss anything else. I think
That's right,
we'll be
among
fine.
yourself, and then make a decision, right?
Good, then I'd like to invite all of you to attend the neighborhood watch meeting. And somebody mentioned something about not having good enough attendance. Well, the last meeting, I brought coffee and homemade cookies because it was raining that night.
What kind of cookies?
Oatmeal chocolate chip.
Oatmeal chocolate
Are you
chip.
kidding? I'm going.
Peanut butter, and if it's raining, I'll bring coffee again.
Outstanding.
They don't serve beer at those? No beer at those?
When is the neighborhood watch meeting?
Second Thursday at 6 o'clock here, and I have to turn in my keys, so hopefully Chris will be taking the keys over.
Why don't you let her keep the key?
Yeah.
At what time?
We trust you.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, thank you.
And you can go to nwsjb.com and get signed up for the emails.
Do they have any email reminders? Because
Yes.
I need your email.
For you?
Okay.
I'll use your councilman one, and I'll add I'll go ahead and add the whole, all the councils.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you can get a key to the back door.
Okay.
Well, because you're a council member.
Okay. We have CMAP here with Louis Candelaria.
Didn't we appoint somebody, he lived at Rancho Larios, but he was interested, he volunteered, and we had nobody from the
Last
city?
name is Stroll.
Strolls?
Or
Oh, Pete
Stroll or
Roble?
Something like that?
No.
No?
It starts with an S. I've had an email from
Anything Rancho
Bob
Larios
Reed
XP.
discussing that, and he suggested again that that gentleman be put on, so I will make another contact to him. When you guys selected him, I contacted him, and he said, oh, really, that's news to me that you guys wanted me.
I kind of remember
He
that.
was going to talk to Kathy, the executive director, and I never heard any more back. And they never approached me, but I do have his contact information.
What is that
and I will
CMAP?
try to get that.
What is that CMAP?
Television.
Oh, the AP
Wave
part of
it,
that.
see it.
Did you say Bob Reed has expressed interest in
That was the
that?
whole,
Or he just
so it's the
wanted
whole
to see
camp,
somebody doing it?
That
Monterey
individual
and
appointed.
Peninsula.
Okay.
And when Bob Reed was it, he always got my best
So
side.
that spot is open at this point, but I will bring back a report at the next meeting on my results.
Next here is the intergovernment committee.
Is that, what does that encompass?
The what? The
Intergovernmental
intergovernment? We get like state parks in there. We get the county. We have City of San Juan, Hollister, and we have the water
Great.
works.
I'd love to
We
see
have
that.
EMS going there,
Great.
and it follows the fire meeting. So you'd like that one?
I would, if that's all right. I
And
don't,
that's the first Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock.
So these times I have aren't accurate. The fire department, the fire meeting's at 8:30 and the
Yeah.
next one is at 10.
At 10,
Okay,
yes.
And LAFCO's at 6 PM.
Okay, thank you.
Ad hoc committee. We had Andy and Tony. When and where do they meet? When and where do they meet?
Here or whatever, we just talked out in the street, whatever. No, we
Street
were
talk?
just, that was we were trying to figure out how to pay for the pellet plant. Basically, that's what it was about.
I should not be on that one.
no. I'll take it if it's,
Okay.
Do you want me to stay on it?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, ad hoc committee for parking within the city. Rick and Tony were on that. You guys want to?
We were meeting with Rich Brown, and he's not around anymore, so.
So would you be meeting
No,
with
well, this,
parking?
no, this parking one was, it's a problem for you because we were having the meetings in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had somebody from the mission and
State
the
Park.
state park.
Oh, that meeting.
That,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and that's how we got this lot opened
Oh,
up
for
over
the
here.
right.
and the buses and stuff, the steamers.
Probably take me off of that.
I'd be happy to.
I'll volunteer, Jim, or if you want.
What's the ad hoc committee for outside services? Would that be police and fire
Oh,
contracts? Or?
Let me explain this. When Jolene and Andy and I first got elected, right, we had that MCI doing all the public works.
They were doing our public works.
And so we took it upon ourselves to talk to different vendors or landscapers and whatever. I don't think we need it anymore because we've got public works back.
So the ad hoc for the parking within the city,
Yeah.
Jim, since you got a little bit of that construction background, you want to?
Fine.
Okay. I volunteer Jim. And so the ad hoc committee for outside services, are we still continuing with that?
No.
Okay, so we'll just cross that one off. And, okay. And Jolene?
Sorry. I just wanted to mention on the outside services, there still is the Bracewell contract to look at, but you could set up an ad hoc committee if and when you decide to look at that. Because there were other contracts, Tony, I think that we had planned on taking a harder look at and never had. MCI was the first one we wanted to take care of.
I thought that was our main focus and that was
It
it.
was our main focus, but the reason we called it outside services and not MCI contract was
Oh, yeah,
that we did want to look at other contracts as time permitted. And so you could just either leave it on there or as something comes up, like, you know, we got time to look at the Bracewell contract, we're gonna do that, or however you wanna do it. But it would be any outside, it would even include,
Attorney.
you know, the attorneys, it would be all of the outside contracts, I think is kinda how we were looking.
But we already appointed, well, 2 council members to discuss what was going on with the firm. Should we just keep those 2 as?
Okay.
We'll just keep those 2 as part of that. So I'm going to volunteer you.
Was that you and me?
It was
2
me.
of you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a job for senior members.
let's see.
You make me feel old.
I'm having